There we go. We are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for clicking on. It is Late Night America on the American Doofus channel. And once again, we do thank you for joining. We are going to have a couple of guests tonight, if everything works out as we hope it will. And Summer Dickerson and BTM Sparky are going to be joining coming up in just a little bit. So those two ladies will be having a conversation, and they've got those that don't know, they both have Survivor channels, and not Survivor as far as the television show, but Survivor as far as life experiences, we'll say. And hi, hot mess, Summer. Summer's going to be up here in just a couple of minutes. Hi, Sissy. Hi, Casey. I'll go ahead and get the news started and get the news out of the way, and then hopefully Sparky will be here by then, and we will be able to get everything kicked off. Hi, GA from CA. I want to start off with what's happening still election wise, as votes are being still counted in a lot of areas. The Democrats have secured control of the Senate, and that is with one race still remaining. That is going to be the runoff in Georgia. Neither one of the candidates able to get over 50% of the vote, so there will be a runoff in December in Georgia. But when you consider that the vice president is the deciding vote and is the president of the Senate, the Democrats have control of the Senate 51-49 at the moment, with again one race still remaining in Georgia. In the House, Republicans have 212 seats, 204 seats for the Democrats, and 218 is the number for control of the House of Representatives. So we'll keep watching those races as more and more of them are called, as we are finally getting all of the election results in. Okay, Sparky is here. Summer, go ahead and hit that link up at the very top if you would, and we'll get ready to go here in just a couple of seconds. I want to run down our Twitter bookmarks and our breaking news, and then we'll have the two ladies on. Here's what's going on mainstream media-wise as far as the headlines. Democrats retain grip on U.S. Senate, defying Republican red wave. 6 dead after a pair of vintage military aircraft collided at a Texas air show. Pelosi won't announce decision on future as Democratic leaders until all the votes are counted. GOP finger pointing in every direction as party absorbs election losses. Will Arizona governor candidate Lake be lone election denier who wins? That's out of Arizona Central. And NBC News, at least 6 dead as explosion rocks popular pedestrian street in Istanbul. The capital of Turkey was indeed rocked today by just horrific events, and we're going to get a little bit in depth on that real quickly right here. The as you can see, carnage on the streets of Istanbul in what is a very popular market, not only for tourists in the area, but also for their locals. During all of the hecticness, a dog got trapped up on a balcony, and you can hear the dog's trapped up here on the balcony. People down here they have a makeshift tarp to catch the dog in case it falls.
Давай уже иди. Ну, боится и трясет прямо вся. Чувака, блин. Ребята, вы чего? Сами упадете. Давай, маленький, давай.
And they got the dog inside safely. You don't think I would have shown it if that wasn't going to happen, do you? No, I wouldn't have. But in all seriousness, you look in the distance, you'll see the blast occurring right there. Suicide bomber blowing themselves up in the middle of Istanbul, Turkey. Here you see the aftermath of the explosion, and as we also mentioned, horrific crash between two military planes. And right there you see the small plane, P-67 fighter jet, or fighter plane, prop plane actually, from World War II, and B-17 bomber, also from World War II, and sadly, all the people lost their lives that were involved in that accident. That was at the Dallas-Fort Worth Air Show. We've got Sparky here, and I know Summer is here, so let me drop this here real quick, and we'll get Summer up here. And hi, Sparky, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Wait a minute, I don't want to do that.
Fixing to bring my girl on.
We are. I just dropped the link in there. She'll be here in just a second, and we'll get rolling on this.
I published today. I need your Cashapp so I can send you your money.
Okay. All right. We'll take care of that. You
Okay.
published.
I did publish today. I'm so excited. Yes, sir. I published today.
What did you publish?
The book is called The Adventures of Sparky Madness Continued. And
this is a follow-up to the
yes.
Captain Savaho.
Yes, and it's The Adventures of Sparky Madness Continued, and it's Adventures in Healing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's always a great thing.
Yeah, somebody told me to write a screenplay. I might need to get with you about a screenplay, brother.
Okay. All right. I've written 8 different screenplays. I came real close to having one published back in 2008 before the economy crashed, but that's a whole different story. Here we go.
What's that?
What's up with you?
That's just yeah, just get ready.
Okay. I haven't had a chance to get your opinion on this. The judge that signed the no-knock search warrant lost their election last Tuesday. Would you like to speak on that?
So as I lived in the neighborhood that these cops came and killed Breonna Taylor in, I cannot tell you guys how thankful that I am that Breonna Taylor got some justice, even if it's a little bit by her losing her job, because she did not take the time to see what was going on with every single thing. She rushed through everything. She took just the words, the good old boy system. And as we are all finding out, as time rolls on, we have 4 officers that are going to be facing some charges. And we have, I believe, more coming. So, yeah, she deserved to lose her job. And shout out to Tracy Davis for taking F seats.
Okay. What about the mayor election?
I feel like as far as like, it's honestly, I don't know. We're going to see. We'll see what's happening, right? I mean, a lot of people can talk. And I don't want to, you know what I mean, count anybody out just yet. I want to see how Greenberg's going to do for herself. We know what it looks like and what it could be. And it could be the same old thing that we're just now walking out of, right? And that's probably the feel everybody gets. But he is the mayor, and I do the work in the community. And so, you know what I mean? We're going to need him to get some work done, and he's going to get some work done. So
okay,
we'll hold him to it.
I wanted to get that out of the way before we got into basically you two having a conversation here.
Can I just throw one more little thing in? It'll come to politics, and then we'll leave it alone. Daniel Cameron, Tuesday, we are going to protest in Frankfurt because, of course, even though the people voted in Kentucky for women and people with uteruses to have their rights, of course, he's up to his same old shenanigans. So if you're in Frankfurt or if you're around Frankfurt, come out and stand with us. We're gonna bring the house down.
Daniel Cameron, the Attorney General of Kentucky, and also the, what is he? Is he like grandson of or?
So he's
related. He's related to the senator, right?
Something like that. I do know that Mitch McConnell groomed him since he was in high school. So you know what I mean. And even so, he came into the seat. I met him when we signed the proclamation for January to be Anti-Human Trafficking Month in the state of Kentucky. We fought really hard for that to happen. So that was the first time I met him, and I told him then, if you don't stand for victims and survivors and people in our state, that you'll never get rid of me. And I've lived up to that point. So I will be there to disrupt him on Tuesday.
Okay.
Gladly.
All right. Are you going to video? Are you going to be live?
You know it.
Okay. All right. We'll highlight it Tuesday then.
Awesome.
Okay. All right. Let me hop over here real quick and say hi to Lois to lead me to the bliss cunning stunt. Hello to everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being in the chat.
Freeway.
Freeway or hit the freeway.
Motherfucking freeway.
Yeah.
And and I just want to say that is a perfect, and I know we're here to talk about something else, but this is a perfect example of the people coming together, working together, staying united, not giving up 874 days before. And please understand, it was the pressure of the people that are getting these politicians out of their seats, that are getting these cops held for they going to jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck trying to say it all professional. Like, and it's the power of the people. And we took in Louisville, Kentucky, we took a lot of heat from a lot of people. But you know what? We are getting results done. And I am proud of Breeway in Louisville.
Yes, and as you should be. And holding people accountable generally takes time. And the reason it takes time is because the hope is that people forget about it and allow things to just be swept under the rug and people to get away with what's going on. And you guys didn't allow that in Louisville.
Not at all. And we ain't ever going to. So it's a new time in Louisville, Kentucky, and accountability for people in authority is the new way to be.
All right. Basically, ladies, I'm just going to kind of turn things over to you and talk to the viewers about your survival channels, your stories, whatever kind of conversation you two like to have.
Okay. First, I want to say, Barry, you just said this. All right, look, like everybody knows I don't have politics. Like we're all over the place in this situation. You just said the same damn thing that exactly applies to this shit show that keeps coming after me. That I can't put it to rest. I'm not going to lay it down. I know what I know, and they're getting away with shit, and they started fucking with me.
And holding people accountable takes time.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability. Was that the first thing you learned coming out of the street, Summer? Did you?
I learned accountability when I was in the streets. We didn't let shit right in the streets.
I didn't know any. Look, I didn't know anything about boundaries.
We didn't call it accountability. You actually do know what accountability is. We just don't call it accountability in the streets because there's rules in the streets. We don't let shit slide. So it's just not. It's different. And so it's something that I want to help even just you and fellow survivors, especially from the streets. Everything we learn from the streets is being used right now. It's just different language. So when you realize that, you become powerful and unstoppable because you already survived to know that. So it's
right.
Accountability is in the street.
Right. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna tell y'all about. All right. This is me and Summer. Okay. I'm gonna tell you this from.
Hold on. Hey, Sparky. Before you get in.
Oh, but hold on. Yeah, accountability. I didn't.
Yeah,
go
you brought up something really interesting in that. You're dealing with the 1776 restoration movement, people coming. I just want to mention that Summer has absolutely nothing to do with any of that.
We completely understand that.
Yeah,
but just for case anybody's watching,
right?
But that's my sister. If she needs to speak her truth, let her speak her truth.
Don't go to Summer's channel if you're a 1776er. Or if you are,
I'm in Tifa's.
No, all right, no. Like, wait a minute. I want to say something on that. I had somebody come in my chat tonight. We're all asking lots of questions. The person recently changed their name today. In the end, I'm still like, it was somebody that needed to pour their heart out in a place where they could be understood. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying if you're like, I've seen people go where she is that need her help. That people that I don't necessarily like or give a shit about one way or another. Yeah, so I don't want to discourage people from reaching out for help, even if I don't care whose side they're on. Like that's been a beautiful thing that happens is people just come and they need to be heard. But don't fuck with my girl. Leave her the hell alone. She ain't nothing about you. And if you're not there to support her channel and or her soap business, and or you hate human trafficking and the fact that people can sell people over and over and over again, then you need to stay the hell off Summer's channel, period.
Okay, we're gonna hold on, wait, no, this is not what this show is supposed to be about.
No, that's just my
stuff. Let's get to the good shit.
Accountability. I learned accountability. Like Barry got drug into it. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to see their people get drug into this freight train.
Right, but there's a time and place for everything, and this is the time for us to tell our stuff. So let's accountability, like you were saying.
I didn't go anywhere for 3 years by myself. Nowhere. If I walked to the store to get cigarettes, somebody had to walk to the store to get cigarettes with me. If I went to church, somebody had to either come get me and or go to church with me. I did not leave my house to go anywhere for 3 years without accountability. It didn't matter where I went. And some places I went, I had more accountability while I was there. So I know what you're saying about the street. No one ever even said the word accountability to me, and so I was trying to get out the street.
But what I'm saying is it's a different thing. Like, okay, accountability in life is you just don't let shit slide, right? Like you got to hold yourself accountable for doing silly shit. If you're going to hold someone accountable, you have to be able to hold yourself accountable. Well, in the streets, it's the same thing. I'm in the streets. I'm doing this. And I was on the streets. I was in gangs. I sold dope. I was a prostitute and I was being trafficked. So I understand a lot of different aspects. And in those aspects, we don't call it accountability. but there is definitely accountability, and there's even boundaries if you think about it, because there's certain things that you're just not going to do, and you're not going to go to certain territories and but we don't call it boundaries. And so when those of us from the streets, because when I first got out of the life and everything, my husband said, I was like, babe, I don't know what to do. I said, I don't know how to go into this corporate America and sit here and act like I got shit together and not cuss and not, I'm tatted from head to toe. I'm a street bitch that loves Jesus. You know what I mean? And he looked at me and he said, babe, he said, you have sat at tables that women, much alone, people like you would ever sit at. He said, you take those same skills that kept you alive in that life and you use them here for good, because everything's about good and bad. So even in the street life, it's two different worlds, but it's one and the same. And that's what when we understand that, then we are powerful, because then we own both worlds, if that makes sense. And the more me and you talk and everything, I can point out a little bit of, and you'll be like, damn, I didn't even think about it that way.
Oh, girl, you're good. Look, summer is amazing sandpaper for me, y'all. I'm going to tell you something. I'm 54. And I've been out of the street 8 years. Summer's been out the street 7 years. Girl, I just chased after Jesus. That's the only reason I'm rough like I am now, because now I'm just free to be whoever I am. And I don't have to answer, like, I'm not trying to be mean or hateful to anybody, and I'm not trying to like abuse other people, but you're not going to walk on my ass. I don't care who you are, ever, ever, ever. And that's just the way it has to be. And my experience in the streets was like, what? Oh, no. Wait a minute. I want to know how you spoke at the United Nations and what I've got to do to be able to speak at the United Nations.
So, one, it's about keeping yourself open to all kinds of different people, even in circles that make you uncomfortable and that people don't know, you don't know. Because I keep myself very open, I always say, and I have helped my enemies, I keep myself, because if I'm doing for me, I feel like this is my mission, right? I feel like this is what I survived all of this hell for. And so because I leave myself open, but I'm still who I am, right? I don't sugarcoat nothing. I am who I am. I ended up at U of L College where they were having this huge conference, and it was for the United Nations. Plus I stay plugged in. I go to every single conference. I go to if there's something going on in your community, you go to it, because you know why? Yes, the people that are not survivors are amazing, but I have a story to tell. I am a survivor. So the statistics that you get from your paperwork and all these little fancy degrees you have will never trump what I've been through. So I go to U of L, I make myself accessible. I meet Malcolm X's daughter. She's there speaking on because she does work in human trafficking. And I meet this lady, Jeanette Westbrook. And so when I meet them, you know what I mean? They're like, hey, and they're strong women. And so I'm talking to them. I build a relationship with them. Me and Jeanette Westbrook, she does amazing work. We start doing radio shows together. We start doing hold on. Hold your pieces. You want to know how I got there? I'm going to get you there.
I know her. I don't know how I know her, but I know her.
Which one?
Jeanette.
She's here in Louisville, so I mean, she's very big in the movement.
I know that name.
She also was a big part of like Black Panthers and everything back in the day. I mean, she's a dope ass female. So
there you go.
And she's a survivor. So that's another thing. I plug myself around a lot of survivors. I stay even when it's hard, right? She comes to me one day, she says, she hears me speak, and she's like, dude, you're a powerful speaker. She said, you own that room. And she said, you made people understand in ways they'll never understand. She said, you're going to the United Nations. I didn't know what the United Nations was. I'm a 6th grade dropout. I've taught myself up this point, right? So I didn't know what it was. And I go home to my husband and tell him, and he's like, holy shit, you're going to the United Nations? I've been there twice. How can you get there? You get plugged in. You go to all the local events that you see that has human trafficking or anything like that. Get yourself educated. Get yourself surrounded, engulfed, if that's what you want to do. And I believe God put me in the United Nations, because it don't make no sense why no little gutter girl like me ended up in the United Nations. But it don't make no sense with half the stuff I do. I train colleges and all kinds of shit on a survivor's point of human trafficking. So you can do anything you want. You just got to put your energy into it.
Oh, girl, I'm going to talk at the United Nations. You can bet your tattooed ass on that shit, sister. I'm going
Well,
to
since I got both cheeks tattooed, I guess you going.
Yeah, girl, I'm going. Yeah, oh, and let me tell you, I love that. I'm going to talk at the United Nations, y'all. Write that shit down, people. This is happening. I wanted to tell you, like, self-educated people are the richest and wealthiest and most well-rounded people on the face of the planet, because what you learned, you desired to learn, and someone didn't force that on you. And you don't have to fit the confines of what the education system looks like because of that.
Right. You know, honestly, I use a lot of stuff that I came out of life with, right? Like, so when I was in the life, like, I was in the higher end of aspect things. Not that makes me any better, because it just means more torture, actually, because power and control brings more evil and more torture, because they're just messed up type of people.
It's a
But
low
anyway,
vibration. Yeah.
right. But doing that, I had to study things, right? Like, I had to study I had to always prepare myself and engulf myself. So I was self-taught because I dropped out of school at a very young age. But being in that world, I had to know the business world. I had to know what was going on in the news. I had to know what was going on in politics. I had to know these things. So when I talk to these tricks, I mean, sorry, but y'all gonna learn some languages. Tricks are men that buy sex, men or women, because men and women both could be tricks, by the way. And so I would teach so I do the same thing now, right? So I sit there and go, okay, I run a shelter. I wanted to know what that looked like. I mean, I grew up in shelters. I did all that, but I didn't know what it looked like running a shelter meant. God provided me with houses. Literally, a pastor walked up to me and gave me 2 houses, right? Next thing you know, I'm studying on different shelters, survivor-led. Everything you do, make sure that you're studying survivor-led stuff, because it empowers each other, right? Boom, I do that. God gives me a soap business. Well, that soap helps me help get women out of human trafficking. It helps me find missing kids. It helps me do all kinds of shit. You know where the soap came from? I look at it, my experiences when I was younger and sold dope. I sold dope because we didn't have food and things like that to eat. So that's what I had to do. I had to do that to provide for my brothers and sisters. Well, now I've got a soap business, and I'm providing for victims of domestic violence and human trafficking and veterans that are out on the streets.
Girl,
if it's meant for you, God will provide. I'm just saying.
That's the dope game. Like, you flip the script on the dope.
Most definitely. Game. So you see, everything we use there, we have to focus. Like, what are you going to put your energy in? And how are you going to build your brand? You are your brand. So it doesn't matter.
I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place, sis.
It's okay. But it's okay. Doofus. Doofus has known me for a little while. Am I all over the place?
Wow. She is all over the place.
This chick is my soul sister, okay? She is my soul sister. And there are times when I can go over there and it's just like, there is someone else in this world that's like me, that I can just sit here and listen and be, and it's okay. And we're like totally. Did you ever do drugs? Like, I know you did drugs.
Yeah, of course I did drugs. Are you kidding me? I was being bought and sold to the highest bidder. Yes, I got fucked up. I wanted to numb. I was literally auctioned off.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant like that's how I ended up in that, was because I did drugs. It wasn't because other people navigated that into my life. You know what I'm saying? No.
You listen. I said I did drugs because I wanted to numb the shit. I've been getting assaulted since I was 5. I stayed fucked up my whole life until
you're not. Yeah, you can't cope with that unless you're getting messed up.
Trauma equals addiction. Trauma equals addiction. Regardless of how you got there, trauma equals addiction.
Because to deal with the trauma, you self-medicate. And
100%.
the more trauma you get, the more medication that is required to numb the trauma.
100%. 100%. And I'm not ashamed of anything that I ever did. I'm not ashamed of anything I did to survive. And when
girl.
I went to a golf outing and was auctioned off for a lot of money. I'm a human being. That should have never happened to me. At a golf outing, yes.
I imagine it was a political fundraiser.
Actually, there was some political people there, but it wasn't a political fundraiser. It was just some people making some money. They
Wow.
were high. It's yeah. When I'm going to be telling my story Monday on my channel, and so if people want to tune in, I tried
What
to do it
time?
the other. I think I got it set for 9:30.
Okay. All right.
So I tried to do it the other day, but I had some technical difficulties. But yeah, I mean, it's just, when you have that, or even before even the trafficking happened, I was kidnapped and stuff at 15 years old. I've been assaulted since I was a young child. Like, you think I'm not going to get high on something? You think I'm not going to drink or, and now I'm amazing. Like, I mean, I'm not amazing. I'm amazing with me, right?
You're
I'm
Amazing.
okay.
Amazing to yourself
Don't take
compared to
that
where
from
you were.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm
don't,
amazing.
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
It's
I'm
You are
amazing to
amazing.
myself. I love myself today. Like, I know who I am, and I'm learning every single day. I've only been out of everything 7 years, right? And I refuse to be anybody's victim. I refuse to give up. I refuse to just be the dumb whore, because that's the way people look at us. They don't understand what victimization is. They don't understand, even if somebody's just in prostitution, how and why they got there. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I'm so open about my story, because I was trafficked long before I was ever trafficked.
What do you
You
mean
know
by
what I mean?
that? No. What do you mean by that?
I know
So,
what
okay,
you mean.
I started being trafficked at 17, 18 years old, right? I started getting assaulted and abused as a child at 5.
These Barry.
I ate out of hold on. I ate out of dumpsters, and I have been raped, and I've been kidnapped, and I've been molested, and I've been beaten. I've been broken. I was vulnerable. I was the perfect victim. And most people that have been through a lot of things, that's why when things happen to children, we need to get those babies the help that they need, because all this stuff happened to me and I never got the help that I need. So I was the perfect package wrapped up on a bow for a predator in every aspect of my life. And it's been that way until 7 years ago, when I had a 357 stuck to my head, and I said, no, I can't do this no more. And so then after that happened, I found my voice. When I found my voice, I found my strength. When I got a relationship with my God, and he loved me for me and not the way everybody wanted me to be, I'm unstoppable. And so I refuse to, if I die tomorrow, at least I know I left my mark. At least I know I'm empowering survivors. I'm empowering victims. I go in and I help women get out of situations. I'll kick a door down and lay everybody down to get a victim out of a situation. I'm that chick. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the chick that if your kid goes missing, I'm going to go look for your kid no matter what. And I take a lot of heat for the shit. And so I sympathize with what like Sparky and some of the people are going through, because as you know, doofus, I'm going through my own shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is crazy.
We all are.
And even in all of that, that's why I try to, tell everybody, like, you can still go through all that and deal with all that, because I am, and still focus on the things we need to focus on. Because while we're all back and forth, and that's something even I had to check myself on, because I do the same shit. I'm not perfect. Listen, there's going to be a day everybody's going to see me show my ass. That's just it. It's going to happen, because I'm that chick. But I try to speak positivity around us. I try, and it ain't about unity. It ain't about none of that. It's about, man, we got a lot of fucking work to do. We have a lot of work to do within ourselves and in our communities. And while we're doing all this, there's victims, there's children, there's voices, there's people, there's veterans, there's men, there's women that need all of us, because we all got something to do.
You don't need to agree with everybody to make sure the right thing gets
Man,
done.
listen, I have helped my enemies. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I'd be like, I will never help this chick. I will never. And now I'm talking about some real shit. I will never help this chick. And I have, you know what I mean? On many occasions, because at the end of the day, I stand for violence against women. I'm not going to let nobody harm another person around me. I don't give a shit if it's in my chat. I don't give a shit if it's around me. I am the chick that gets involved, and I will shut it down, period. Because it's just not what it is. And so what I have to bring at my table, and what Sparky has to bring at her table, and a lot of us have to bring at our table, we need to look at that shit for a reminder, because we got a lot to bring to the table, and people are needing it.
It's all different meals too.
All different, and that's great.
All different meals. Hey, Barry, like how that happens is like, it'll be people that are in our lives that they romance us to the 7th degree for a period of time. And then, like, when they know, like, when you take the fish off the hook and it's in the frying pan, you know you got it. And then they flip and they turn, and it becomes a prison and a nightmare for the person that it happens to. Like, I knew a pimp that kept a fucking girl in a cage. Like, what the hell?
I mean, I was buried alive, so you know they
Yeah,
do torture shit.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, and people always say, like, how do you survive all this stuff? Some are like, I've been through some shit that, like, most people and myself have tried to blow my own brain out, but like, God's like, nope, you're not killing yourself. I'm not done with you yet. So here I am. But there's a lot of shit, and like, and that's why I talk. That's why I open up about the stuff that's happened to me. And I don't care if people believe me or not. There's enough victims and enough people out there that this stuff has happened to, that it's happening. And so we need to stop living in a delusion. And no, hey, look, I care about the whole world. I would love to see the whole world be kumbaya and nobody be hurt, but that's not fucking reality, right? And you know what is reality is the United States of America. This is my country, right? We all are in different aspects. We need to learn and stop living in the delusion or the white van theory and see the shit that's happening right in front of our eyes. Because continuous, have you even trolled YouTube lately? You know how many kids are fucking missing? Do you know how many babies are being found dead? Come on now, what, we got shit to do.
There are in the United States every single day, whether recovered or not, there are 28,000 children reported missing in a day, every day.
100%.
There are over 326,000 missing and exploited children in our country. Like, where are they? Why isn't anybody looking for them? What happened to them?
You think that's a lot? That's just what's being reported.
Right. How often, you know,
100%, sis.
we use the term survivor because you have survived being a victim. How often do the victims don't survive? Nobody even knows they're missing or care about them or even looking for them.
Summer. How many do we not hear about?
So I can tell you right now, and this is, and anybody that's watching me, that's especially local, these people know that I'm not lying. My friends are the people you all hear about in the dumpster, in the suitcases, in the abandoned houses, and in the tarps that are left up in an alley. Those are my friends, right? And you know what they do? You know what they'll do? They'll write it off as a drug overdose because they don't want to deal with it. They think that we're nobody. They think we don't have family. They think people don't care about us. I can't tell you how many people I know that in the process of being trafficked and in just the life, not even being trafficked, because I wasn't just a victim. Sometimes, you know, I mean, I chose to do these things, right? But even so, I go back to my trauma as a child. I really don't think I chose to do anything because my format is my childhood was thrown off way before I had a choice. So I don't even know if I had a choice in any of the shit that I've done, right? Even in the stuff that I'm doing now, I'm doing it now because so many women, so many little boys, little girls end up dead because of familial trafficking, because of pimp control trafficking. Man, I promise y'all need to sub to my channel because I'm gonna tell you the real shit. Because I can talk about this, and I talk about all this stuff because we only have a short time here on Doofus's channel. But this is real life, man. And Doofus, I cannot tell you how many people, and it'll never be reported. It'll never be on the news. The only time, like some of my friends that end up being found dead is because we all make a big deal about it. You know what I mean? Like whether it's homeless people or whether it's prostitutes or victims in trafficking, right? We get found in alleys all the time with needles on our arms. They don't give a shit because they think nobody cares. But we are people's daughters. We are people's sons. We are people's mothers and fathers. And we as a humanity need to get the fuck over ourselves and stop judging so much.
How many people don't tell that they are victims? How many people don't tell their stories? I mean, you know what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
There are so many victims, but yet there are so many people that are probably silent. There are so many people that have been victimized that we don't know about. So being survivors and you're also examples. You're two powerful examples to people that need platforms to go to hear and to possibly participate.
Yeah, and like for me, you know, yes, of course, 100%. Like we have to stand and scream to the mountaintops about the things that are happening to the kids. But for me, I say for everybody, right? For women and to the kids, because if we don't, when we start being able to tell our story, right? Or if we be getting, even if you don't, one thing I will say this to any survivor that's out there, don't ever feel like you have to share your trauma porn just to get people to pay attention to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
If that is if somebody
all.
is,
No.
but but reexploitation happens all the time, and so that's especially when survivors are first finding their voice and advocacy. A lot of people will invite you here, invite you there, Bible studies, churches, all this shit, and then they want your trauma porn.
They want to hear.
They
want to hear the details so they can get off on it.
Now,
and that's why we try to handle this with such kid gloves and such respect on this show. So because it has to be talked about.
Speak on Doofus's channel anytime, because he stands for survivors, he gives space for survivors, and he doesn't re-exploit survivors. That's not what I was talking about. I'm just saying in general.
Right, I know that.
You know what I mean? Because I know I have a lot of survivors that are going to listen to us right now, and that's just a message, just like own your. And I do tell my story and sometimes share what I choose to share, but that's because I get to do that. So always remember that. But yeah, I mean. Find people that care about you. You know what I mean? Like, and I know my channel, like we have plenty of we have support as far as in the channels, and I don't care if people don't get along with each other or whatever. There has to be spaces. Now, if somebody goes to abusing somebody or something on my channel, oh yeah, you'll get blocked, because I'm not going to deal with that. You can watch from the bushes. But if you could be a grown up, then, we've accomplished a lot of things on our channels. We've given cars away on our channels. We've been able to find victims resources. We've been able to help victims get relocated into a safe place. So my channel, yes, we talk and we do panels and we do life together. Some days it'll be good. And like last night, dude, I'm going through a lot of shit with my kid right now. So last night was rough for me and my show was all over the place. It's like that sometimes, because we care about children victims, and we should. But we have to care about the women victims as well. And the reason why is because they produce the children that sometimes end up as victims. And so we got to be able to empower both, so we break that cycle as well, right? And so I think it's supporting all victims, turning into survivors, to warriors, to thrivers is what all of our mission should be.
Turning from survivors to warriors. What was that again? From victims to survivors? To warriors,
victims to survivors, to warriors to thrivers.
Warriors to thrivers. Okay.
Yep. What's up, Sparky? Your turn, girlie.
I don't it's really different for me. Like, I love you. It's amazing.
You do it the way you got your story. Your story. I'm just telling mine. I'm not telling you.
It's a different story. It's a different meal at every table.
Right.
I just been finding myself for 2 years. I never had anything. The things I did have, that they were priceless, but I never had a place of my own. I never had a home to feel like I was coming home to. I never had an empty house. There's always been strays. There's always been homeless people. There's always been children and men and grandbabies and everybody else's stuff. So I spent the last 2 years finding out who I was, and all of this happened, and wow. And it was a totally different experience for me, but it was still the same. You know what I'm saying? The devil's in the details.
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell you what I know. What saved me. I'm gonna tell you what I know for a fact saved me in the street. First and foremost, my bitch ass is going to give you trouble. I'm going to give you trouble. People don't want to fool with folks that are going to give your ass trouble. And I'm loud as hell. I have made a dope boy sell me some crack when the police were right across the street at the gas station and knew I was making him sell me some crack. And I'm like, if you don't sell it to me, I'm going to start singing really loud, and they're going to want to know what I'm doing over here. Okay, so anyways, so there we are. But it's just really different for me now, and I love that activity. I miss them. The streets are my people. It got too dangerous for me. There were too many dope boys up in them holes that I used to go feed people at, and it just came to a place. My daughter looked at me and she says, "Mama, this part of your journey's over. You got to do something else now." And you did this well. Like she like even was like, you did this well. And they still like wave me down like I'm in Montgomery. I live in Montgomery, Alabama. They have outed my ass all the way. Come and get it. Ain't nobody scared. My name's Teresa Darlene Murphy. I kept my married name because I earned that shit and I am a sea warrior. And it's going to be different. Like, there's so many people on my channel that, like, man, everybody's got a story. Like, tell your story. Own your shit. Don't bullshit anybody and just be. And it's so cool because I get on there. I'm like, I don't know why everybody comes and hangs out with me. But we laugh. We had a hashtag party last night. It was freaking hilarious. It was me laughing my ass off, writing down hashtags because I can't pretend like it's not happening. I'm not going to pretend like these people are not messing with me and then it's not happening. I'm not going to do that. Oh, and by the way, I think it's really important to announce to all the fans of the shit show that the Greyhound Warrior is coming through Alabama. And I happen to have the schedules, then I'm sorry. I'm not even going to give your ass that content. But I hope your butt cheeks are a little tight at every station you have to sit at, wondering if good old BTM Sparky is going to show up and give you a piece of her mind to your face and give you the opportunity to tell me what you really think. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I think that's hilarious. And I'm pissed off that I have to go to the fucking police. I'm pissed off that y'all are making my ass go to the police because I shouldn't have to waste my time that way. But I know what terroristic threats are. My daddy's been in jail for a long fucking time, plenty of times over terroristic threats. And I'm going to the police tomorrow. And I have all the information that I need. And fuck you because you didn't like me. I wasn't bothering you, but you're not going to do this shit with me. And if I do it quickly enough, the police might pick your ass up at the Greyhound station. Hello.
Okay, so somebody from the 1776 thing is making their way back home via Greyhound from possibly Branson, Missouri.
It's a tree rat from Tennessee to Florida, and there's only 3 Greyhound stations in Alabama, bitch.
All right.
But yeah, but anyways, I'm very upset that I have to go to the police department about some stupid ass shit with somebody I don't even know that I don't have anything to do with because they think they're funny and clever and that they can make public terroristic threats and cyberbully people using their YouTube channels.
Okay.
Well, I could tell people because I have a situation like that going on myself, and mine's a little, it's not just on the internet; it's a lot. But yeah, that gets you in trouble. That can get you in trouble. So it's I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay, I want to.
Summer, I love you, Summer.
I want to ask 2 things here. Number 1, is the main trap, the main pitfall, whatever term we want to use, the main way of sliding into trafficking, is it by abusing drugs, or is you get into trafficking and the drugs come after you've been kidnapped or whatever happens to you?
I'll let Sparky go first.
Or is it both?
They say don't hate the player, not the game. And I hate the game. The game is it's lame. It is designed to take advantage of, rob, raid, pillage. I hate the game. And they always say, don't hate the player, hate the game. It is all a master manipulation game that goes on with an individual, like where they start with their heart and then they start beating the body down and then they start messing the brain up. And the only way you really can survive it is if you're getting high.
Okay.
So for me, it was more manipulation that got me into trafficking than anything else. It was actually, I thought my first pimp was my boyfriend. So that's done a lot, and that's done through the grooming process. Now, I've been doing drugs off and on since I was probably 13 years old because my abuse started very young. And so for me, it was a way for me to numb myself. Now, when I got out of everything and stuff like that, I can honestly say I was very proud that I, got clean or whatever. And it's not something I really struggle with, right now. But I think for me, it was just, I was addicted to money. So I had to break that cycle of things and learn the aspect of different things because I wasn't always a victim. I mean, I stopped being trafficked when I was, around 29 years old. So I stayed in life long after that, because that's what I knew.
That's how you made your money.
That's how I survived. It wasn't just money. It was my friendships. It's where people didn't judge me. There were other women why I like Sparky's channel is because I love the camaraderie. I love the women that, everybody that supports each other. They're always laughing. And we need that. We need safe spaces like that. Right. But yeah, no, we did baby showers. We understood each other's trauma. Our trauma spoke to each other. So we knew how to be there for each other and care for each other and why, look out. Why everybody else looked at me like, oh, that's that prostitute. That's that whore, whatever. But, you
had a community.
I had a community. Yeah, it was my community. And I love my community. And that's why I still do the work that I do in my community because that's my people's. I do big time street stuff. And then I even go in the clubs and stuff still, because those are my people. And I mean, I'm just 7 years out of everything. Like those is my people. So,
okay.
Still.
Is one other thing I wanted to ask, is there, because Sparky said, you have made me go to the police. Is there a view that police don't care? You don't want to have interaction with police. That's the last thing you want to do because they don't care and it's nothing but bad can happen. Is that how it's viewed?
Do you want to go first? You want me to go first, Spark?
You go first.
I got it. So I know from the people that I did, was in the life with, the police is really bad. Like I was raped by 3 officers while I was in the streets. And there was nobody I could go to and talk to about that because it was the cops, right? And that happens to a lot of the women that are in the life. So we have really bad relations. We have really bad trust. And even so, I will always, even to this day, I can get pulled over by the police. And as soon as I see that badge, I shake. Like I go into a full out anxiety, and they'll ask me like, are you on drugs? Da, 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 da. And it's not that. I'm triggered from that badge because so many of us see these power and control in positions like police officers and things like that will use their badge to harm us. Some of them participate in the stuff. So some of them are trafficking women as well, or involved in collecting money on us being trafficked. And so, you'll every now and then find somebody that you could trust or whatever. But even now that I'm out of the life, because I have my own situation going on and I had to go and file paperwork and do all this stuff. And it was not something that I wanted to do. It was something I knew I had to do because I'm not a victim anymore. And so I'll be damned if anybody's going to put me in a position to be a victim. And so even though I didn't want to do that, and it took me a minute to do it, I have to do it. And I have to stick with it because I want to show other women that, I wish I could tell you that the court's working all the time in my favor, but I don't feel like it always is, even in these situations. And as an advocate, I go into courtrooms with women and I see women the courtrooms are not, they're not trauma informed. We're starting to get to know, so Ohio, they have a program in Columbus, Ohio, that is amazing for especially women like me and Sparky. They have a whole program up there, and we want to see more courtrooms to get like that, to where they're trauma informed, because there's a whole situation. But when it comes to the police, more survivor leaders are speaking up and training people, but I don't know if they get it. I wish I could say they did, but I just don't see it.
Okay, and that's honest. We'd love to see them getting it, but they're not getting it.
Yeah. Can I make a comment on one little thing? Because I seen somebody said that we should make sex work legal. I will never agree with prostitution being illegal, and I'm going to tell you why. Because when you I am a big advocate, and I have still went to Washington. Like, I've done a lot of things to fight for decriminalization of prostitution. When you legalize prostitution, you leave the gates open to hell to sit there and harm victims, to even more children being harmed and all this other different stuff. And you can't, there's, I mean, the laws are so messed up that we can barely prosecute people with the shit that we got in play now. So if you legalize it, we are going to have the red light district in every little mom and pop's neighborhood in this country. If you decriminalize it, what happens is people like me can go out when victims get arrested or they get caught up in stings, and I can be in another hotel room a couple doors down. And instead of that victim going to jail, they will come down to the room where I'm at, and I will give them the resources that they need. And I will tell them, because like they may not leave the life that night. You know what I mean? But they will have resources. I can start building a relationship with them. And I'll tell them, like, take your ass home. You see they out, like, shit can happen, go home. And what happens if they continue to get arrested, it creates debt bondage. And then these women cannot get out of the life because I got to pay for court fees. I got to pay for all this different stuff. And so now, you understand? So no, I'm sorry, but legalizing prostitution will never leave my lips.
Sparky, what do you feel?
She I asked her. I was the person that asked her that, and what she says is correct. But what I want to say is, like, I didn't trick off with the police. I never tricked off with the police. No. That's and the other thing that kept me alive.
Tricked off. When you say tricked off, that means
tricked off. That's
you never got paid by them to do something.
I never slept with the police. I never tricked off with the police. There was nothing I traded out with the police. I was not raped and or abducted by the police. In any situation I was in the street, and we're talking a great number of policemen that I know their names, what they drive, what their tag numbers are. No police officer in the state of Georgia, on the west side of Atlanta, in the dope trap, where all the prostitution is, ever mistreated me in any way whatsoever, other than to scare my ass and make me go back up in the woods where I lived. And my son was with me because I was a terrible mother and I'm getting fucked up with my kid. And everybody thought he was my husband because he's so aggressive and he's so protective of me. And they didn't like really look at us like we're just this couple on the street. And that's the other thing that kept me alive. And we both have this uncanny ability to make friends with everybody. We just did. Like, I had a police officer used to tell me all the time, if I see Ace, I'm gonna lock him up. I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell you why you don't want to do that, because wherever you send his ass, he's gonna make friends and they're gonna want to come down here and hang out with him. And don't you think there are enough people down here breaking the law and smoking crack and tricking off? Do you want all of those people coming over here too? Like, it was that thing, like Jump Out Boys. The Jump Out Boys were nice to me.
What are the Jump Out Boys?
The Jump Out Boys.
Police.
You know who the Jump Out. All right, this is the division of the police department that they'll roll up on you in a white van, and or they're riding on the outside of something. And when they stop, y'all's asses better lay down. And if you didn't lay down, you're going to get laid down. And they're serious about why the hell they came down here in the first place. And one night I hear this guy go, "Are you okay?" I'm in the back of a gas station dumping my book out because I can't find my crack, right? And he goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. Don't you see me going through a crackhead nightmare? I'm not okay." And I turn around and it's the fucking Jump Out Boys. And I'm like, "Oh, shit."
Yeah, when you see them, you're gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, so I did not have bad experiences with the police, okay? And I finally told them, look, man, I got the streets. They won't let me stay in the hotels. I try to stay out of your way. I try not to let you see anything. So, like, if you're going to keep, like, you got to SWAT with me. You can have the hotels. And I need the streets because I have nowhere to go. I'm fucking homeless. You know, I live in a tent in the woods over there. Like, so, like, if you would quit fucking with me, that'd be really nice on your part. And my son would be like, "Mama, they're flirting with you." And I'm like, "The fuck you say? I don't trick off with the police, boy." It was always that. He's like, "Mama, he's not being mean to you." He's like, I know he's not flirting with your mama because we don't even go down that alleyway. No, sir. Yeah, it was a different experience altogether for me. But I ran into one of those police officers after I got claimed. We called him Officer Special. His name, he was big. Oh my goodness. He will walk up on you and surprise you. And like, and he said, I ran up on him at the gas station. I'm like, here I am. And he's like, oh my goodness. I'm like, yeah, I just came from church right up the block. And he's like, how's your boy? And I'm like, my boy is as good as I am. And he just like, he's like 6'7", 300 pounds. He like hugged me and picked me up and swung me around like I was his little girl. And I'm like, I'm really glad that you're glad to see me like this. He's like, girlfriend, out of everybody I've known in these streets, I wanted to see this moment today about you and your son because y'all are good people. And that's why I just always treated y'all the way I wanted you to treat me. Yeah,
Yep.
special.
How important is it to have relationships, to have connections with people that have had the same or similar experiences?
Everybody, look, Summer's my only girl. They're all dead. They're all dead. And the two friends that I do still have, they're codependent. And they're living with a man, like they're codependent. They can't relate to me anymore. I didn't have anybody in the universe that could relate to me, like really relate to me as a human being until I saw Summer on your channel, because they're all dead. They're all gone. All my girls are gone. There's nobody there to call up and say, hey, man, I got to tell you this really great thing that happened today. Like, I'm friends with Randy's wife, and I haven't even heard from her. Captain Sabaho's wife is my friend. And, like, I know she's doing okay because she ain't calling me. But, like, there's nobody, like, they're all gone.
And that's the difference between victim and survivor. The victims are all gone. You're still here. You're a survivor. You're here for a reason. You're here to reach out to other women so they don't make the same mistakes, or so they learn from you, or they learn that they're okay. So that's why you're a survivor. That's why you have a survivor channel. That's why you're here, Sparky.
I didn't know it was a Survivor channel until I met Summer. I was just talking to myself because I'm fucking crazy, and I was talking to myself to keep from being crazy. And I had no idea all these other people that were going to come along that had all these amazing stories.
Well, that's the thing, right? That's why channels like yours is important, and channels like mine's important, because people, even if they don't go through what we've been through, right? Like, they go through, everybody's gone through something. And so to be able to have that space where you can come together and you can go, look, our actions and our stories might be different, but the bullshit that we're dealing with, might be the same. The race of mind, the nightmares, the this, the that. And so it's very important for for a community of survivors, not just, yes, it's always nice to have other women like Sparky that can know, if I say, hey, you was on the track or you was on the blade, she's going to be like, yep, it sure was, you know what I mean? Or different certain things, because we understand people's language. Because even when I speak, even on my show, sometimes the people are like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. And because, whatever, because I just talk a different language and stuff. And so when I cuss, and it's nice to be around somebody else that I know she's not going to judge me. I know she's not going to look at me like I'm crazy, and she's going to believe everything that I say, because we have a energy about us because we've been there. And so it's very important to have other people, even if you've been through different things, but also if you have been through the same, and it's good to have different stories, because she's going to be able to speak and help the people that I'm not going to be able to touch, because our stories are different, and vice versa.
I'm going to speak at the United Nations, y'all. I just know it. I'm going to do it, y'all. Like, I'm going to do it. Watch.
Sparky in summer in New York.
Very, very, very. Oh, like, okay, let me tell you something somebody said about it, though, okay? Like, this is how we ended up here, because Summer's a brave communicator. Like, we're both brave communicators, but she has a more direct approach than I do, because if you've already fucked with me, I'm gonna treat you like you're 5 years old, and I can't address it. Now, if you're hungry or you're cold or you need socks or you need something to drink, I got you. But we're still not gonna be friends.
Oh yeah, most
And
definitely.
I'm not going to address this dumb shit. Well, Mater 97, one night I'm on Summer's channel and Summer's like talking and like, I understand Summer talking. Like I could say some things that would like freak some people out, but Summer would be like, I feel you, girl. I feel you. And Mater 97 said, oh, well, Summer just shut your ass down tonight, didn't she? I said, no, she didn't. That's not what she was doing. You don't even know her or me. And you don't understand nothing about street talk because she wasn't.
Our love language is different than other people's.
Like, I appreciate that I have a female in my life that I can be like, you know what? She taught me something right there, and she taught me something right there, and I don't care. I'm not doing that shit, but that's okay for her, right?
Right, exactly.
It's beautiful. I needed that in
and
my
vice
life.
versa. I've learned things from Sparky. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way it's like I don't know. It's just the way the universe works, right? And so people put you in God or whoever you believe in, if it's a fucking trash can, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm cool with it as long as you are the best person you can be. I don't give a fuck if you pray to 409. So be it. You know what I mean? Like just be a good person. Right?
No,
like,
the reason we're laughing is because the 1776 movement has this video where they are praising this giant plastic bin.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The great holy bin.
Oh my god.
So when you say trash can,
I did not know that. Listen, I'm more of what people. I'm probably the chick that they hated during 2020. So I did not know that they had that. I promise you, to anybody, I was. Fuck it. Oh well, it is what it is. Anyway,
the great.
Be the best person
bin.
you can be, even if it's a fucking trash can. I don't care.
I mean, yeah, like I'm for real, y'all. Like Summer has made me step back and say, now wait a minute. Like, are you being you if you do that? Or are you being the monster when you do that? And do you really want to be the monster in this situation? Because BTM is behind the mirror, but it's also for me being the monster. And I'm not trying to be the monster, but what's happening is these people are coming after me. And I'm sorry, I can be the monster all day long. I have to practice being good. I have to practice being kind. Now, I love everybody. I don't like your ass. But I have to, like anything that's like valuable and positive in the world, you have to practice it all the time.
100%.
I can be the monster all the time. I'm going to be the monster. And my thing with the police is, it's not that I have to go to the police. It's that someone is so immature and ignorant that they're going to make me waste my precious time to go and talk to the police to still get what I want. But it's going to cost me time that I'm not getting paid for to be there because they're 5 years old and they're dumb as hell.
I want to inject something here. When did it become bad to go to the police? It used to be if something was wrong, we go to the police about it. And I'm just
in your community, maybe.
Not in mine. Okay, that's what I want to. That's kind of what I'm hoping to get out here. Go ahead.
And just for the record, I am not anti-police. There are some good officers. Okay. There are good officers, but I'm not going to sit here and gaslight everybody and be like, oh yeah, all cops are great. No, that's not it. You know what I mean? And in my lifestyle, I've seen some fucked up ones and I've seen some great ones. You know what I mean? It's an individual. This is a job this is more has to do with the heart of a person, right? And so that's how I judge every single thing that I walk up on, because I know there's good and evil in everything. And so if you are a good cop, and I know some good cops that were there for me during the life and shit, but unfortunately in my situation, in my community, I've known a lot more bad ones. Doesn't mean I don't cancel people out. But even before that, I mean, like I feel like in certain communities, and I'm just going to say it like this, in certain communities, and especially the community I come from, and I'm not just talking about trafficking and shit. I come from the hood. Like, and so the police helped ruin that relationship, because it's very hard. Like in our city here in Louisville, it's very hard to sit here and have police officers you can trust when there's cops that are raping people, that are beating up homeless people, that are shooting and killing people for no fucking reason. Like having a whole Explorer program where children that want to be police officers go to a camp and do a mentorship, and they rape them. Yeah. So it's very hard in certain communities because, listen, criminals are going to be criminals, Politicians are going to be politicians. Cops are going to be cops. Everybody has a role to play. And when you decide to put that badge on, you need to withhold everything that you stand on and not be the same fucking piece of shit that you're saying you're protecting and serving, right? You're not. So when you do that, you break trust with a community. And our community, that trust is broken. And so what that does open the door up is for community to take care of community. And so that's something we're learning how to do. Why this whole relationship with the police in Louisville, Kentucky maybe gets fixed. I don't know. We'll see.
Sparky?
Stay tuned. It's not over.
I don't have that where I am. Like, I don't have that where I am. And I'm not, it's the same thing. Like, there's bad people in every movement, every organization. Yep. My problem, like, and I don't, like, I'm not afraid of the police. I don't have a personal issue with the police department. I don't have a personal issue with public officials. I have a personal issue with the fact that I'm having to take my personal time to go and talk to these people, and the system is broken and or moves slowly at best. Now, I've got to take time out of my schedule for that I'm not getting paid for to go down here and tell these people about some freaking idiots on the internet and sit around and wait on some magistrate judge to look at me like I'm crazy as hell. And yes, I'm crazy as hell. I've been sitting here 4 hours to tell you this shit about this dumbass person that doesn't know me. And if they'll just come to my house, I'll beat their ass and bust their windshields out. And I want all my fucking rocks back. And then you can come and get them. And there's no heat in the prisons in the state of Alabama. So you need to keep your little ass up out of here during the winter time, because I would love to drag it all out. And I do have personal phone numbers of individuals that hold high political positions in my state, not because I have any politics, because I'm a servant to others, and I waited on their asses every morning. They were in my hotel and made them feel like they were at the high dollar restaurant I worked at. And I'm a farmer too. They love them some Sparky madness. Hello.
Ladies, do you have any problem taking some questions from the chat?
Not at all.
Go for it. I'm going to grab my water real quick.
All right.
Potty break. Everybody go take a potty break. Hurry, run.
Yes, everybody take a break. And if you're not taking a break,
you need a potty break, Barry? I'll cover for you.
I don't need a potty break. I need to go check on my dog.
Okay, I'm good. I'll entertain for you. Okay.
All right. Get your questions. Get your questions in the chat. Hello, Lori Arnold. Hello, Teal Ladybug. Hellraiser. Max Smith.
I'm here.
Bruce
I'm just
Grant,
smoking a cigarette, so I got my camera off.
America Media. Okay. Yep. All right. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
All right. Everybody's taking a potty break. I'm going to turn it over to
Summer. Sparky and Summer, and get your questions in the chat. I'll be right back.
All right, get your questions together, y'all. Get your questions together. You heard the man. Look at y'all. There's my people. Look at all my wrenches up in this chat. You see them, Summer?
Huh?
You see all my wrenches up in this chat.
What's up, everybody? I'm not by the. Hold on. Yeah, I can hear you, but I'm doing something real quick. I made roast tonight, so I'm taking a.
Okay, do whatever. I'm gonna read the chat. Tuscaloosa, Alabama. What's going on? Hey, the Georgia Bulldogs are still the reigning national champions. How about them dogs? Go Dogs! You have to live in Alabama to know what that's about, y'all. Everything in Alabama is Auburn or Alabama, and it's a sickness. And you hear Roll Tide and War Eagle everywhere you go. Like the Auburn Tigers, their mascot is a tiger, but they have an eagle, and their war cry is War Eagle. Like, how the hell are you a tiger with an eagle? I mean, I don't get all that, okay? But I'm from Georgia. So go Dogs. Roll Tide. Look at that. Yeah, I didn't talk enough smack last year, y'all. Like my sons, I have 3 sons. I was a mama at 17, all by 21. My sons waited their entire lives to see their college football team be the national champs. And in Alabama, it's college football. There ain't nothing else. And I was really proud for that. And I was very humble, and I didn't talk all the shit I should have talked last year. But we're going to be the champs again this year. Watch. She ain't lied there. Like, for real. Roll Tide. Like, I hear it all the time. War Eagle, Roll Tide. I say, how about them dogs? For the first time ever, people aren't looking at me like I have two heads. And I'm going to write a book about how college football is an untreatable mental illness in the state of Alabama, because they changed Halloween one year because both teams were playing. I'm like, what? Who does that? And they said, you're in Alabama now, sister. Yeah, they have weddings around Alabama and Auburn football games. Like, it is college football pandemonium out here. But you're not getting a jersey for anybody but those two teams. I don't care who you are. Yeah, so Georgia. What's up, Hellraiser? Cunningstein. Bruce Brett. You a Georgia fan, Bruce Brett? Look at y'all. Look at y'all. I love y'all.
I can answer Echo's question when we come back on.
Okay, LSU's badass. Like, I never, ever, ever discredit LSU. Like, how the hell do I know about college football? Like, how did that happen to me? America 2.0. Yeah, so I don't know how that happened. Anyway.
That's right, Lori.
Lori.
Man, I made some killer roast tonight. It is so good. OMG.
Here you go, Lori. Hey, Summer, did you hear? I got to tell you something I heard, Summer. You're going to love this shit, right?
Go for it.
It's the rumor mill, okay? We're going to do the rumor mill.
Oh, sure.
The rumor mill says that Lori Arnold sold a shit ton of pot and supported the TPC until it became 1776. Like, how much weed would she have to sell to support an entire failing movement that has an RV that rents for what, 20 grand?
I have no idea.
Yeah, Lori sold a shit ton of weed, sister. I want you to know she's got to be the biggest drug dealer I've ever laid eyes on, because I don't see how you can fund a movement like that selling pot. But apparently she did. According to the fact checkers and the people that want to like deflect their responsibility, Lori sold all the drugs that supported that movement. Summer, yeah. What do you think about that?
I don't know. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But Lori, my favorite chips is the hot Dorito, the little domino. Oh, here, let me show you. Let me grab it.
Yeah, Runaways. Hey, Jicky, Runaways. A great percentage of runaways are gay children that are coming out to their families, and their families reject them, and like they end up in the streets, totally trafficked and mistreated and all kind of stuff. Yeah, she likes those, girl.
Those are my favorite.
Hey, Taurus, I see you. I can't see Taurus 76 Rising in my channel, y'all. So always, please pass me messages from her like we're in school or something. Yep. So.
I'm trying to look at some of the questions so I can see. Yeah, those are my favorite chips. Yummy.
Made her 90s in Alabama. It's not getting that cold. 97, but thank you for being concerned with my welfare.
I know, I do. 2.0. I always eat them. I'm like, they're so hot, but I love them so much. They're so good. They keep you excited.
Bulldog. Hey, Christmas never ruined. Christmas never ruined. No, I did not say most runaway day. I said a tremendous amount runaway population are people come out to their face, okay, and let what that looks like. In the world do you have of its entire that child, nothing about them changes them child come to you and they say, Daddy, I'm gay, and you turn on them, shun them, and give them away for that one confusion. That's the runaway population. They have to go. They unhoused. They end up in the street. They end up treated and mistreated in the wrong place and or encounter the wrong master manipulators. And it's a tremendous amount of runaway population that and all ends up in Atlanta, New York, and San Francisco.
Oh, what happened there? We lost.
I think she'll pop. She should pop back in. I think her connection was being choppy a little bit. It might have kicked her out.
Okay. What she was saying there, basically, I was going to ask about how crucial or integral is a strong family in keeping people out of being out of trafficking situations.
I think it definitely can play a very good part as far as
anyone see me?
I see you.
Yep.
You're spinning now.
Yep.
I think that it can definitely. It just depends, right? Because a strong, healthy family, what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it can definitely help because sometimes what happens in some situations, especially here in the United States, is it's done a lot through manipulation. And so when kids are vulnerable and they have those holes that they're missing, you know, they're needing that love, they're needing that acceptance, they're needing stuff like that. It makes them very vulnerable for a grooming situation.
Okay.
So a strong family unit can definitely help with that. You know, now an unhealthy family unit, there's a such thing as called familial trafficking, and that's done by families. So, you know, the yin and yang of everything.
What about the runaway?
So runaways, 1 in 4 runaways will usually become to somebody that can introduce them or a pimp that can, you know, get them into trafficking. And what happens in that situation a lot, I mean, people run away for billions of things, you know, and not every person that runs away that even gets sexually assaulted, that's a trafficking situation. Sometimes they unfortunately get caught in, that's just a sexual, not just, but that's a sexual assault. Now what happens a lot of time with homeless kids is what they call survival sex, because they need to eat, they need to, you know, just whatever. And so sometimes they'll get into trafficking. Now, the one thing that makes it unique about children is there is no such thing as a minor prostitute. So under no circumstances, don't ever, for any of the badass fucking advocates that I know is in this chat right now, don't you ever let anyone call a child a prostitute, because we've worked really, really hard, especially over the last decade, to make sure that people understand under no circumstances. That's why so many victims, they get labeled that, and then if they get in a criminal situation, get sent to prison. And then that's why we fight hard to get people like Satoya Brown and Alexa Martin and so many other victims that were children, that things happened to them, and then they were labeled as a child prostitute, and then, you know, whatever. So yeah.
Okay. I'm looking at the chat here real quick to see if we have any questions. Summer, was you homeless when the abuse started?
So I was homeless off and on in my life before the abuse for me started at a very, very young age. So yeah, we were homeless off and on and lived in different shelters around in different states. And then, you know, we'd get a place for a little bit or whatever, and sometimes end up right back in a situation. My trafficking didn't start until I was 17, Gary turned 18 years old. I got groomed into a situation. And the money looked good and everything. And you're talking to a young lady that, you know, I grew up very, very poor. I've ate out of dumpsters. I've slept in cars. I've grew up in shelters, you know. So when somebody was, hey, you can come work for me and in my club. And then from the club situation is when I met the boyfriend, who I thought was a boyfriend, but ended up being a pimp.
Okay.
And you know.
GA,
I did.
go
Go ahead.
ahead. No, go
There
ahead.
was one question that somebody asked: why do like other victims recruit people? So what that is called in the street area is called a bottom bitch. And so sometimes what'll happen is a pimp will take one of his not all pimps, but some pimps have multiple women, right? And so sometimes what they'll do is they'll groom a woman up that's already a victim. Now we have to keep in this mind, because a lot of people in society looks at someone as a bottom bitch is just as bad as a pimp. And in some situations, that's a bottom person is just that, right? But majority of times in these situations, they're taking people that are already victims, grooming them into then becoming this role to where it takes a lot of heat off of the pimp. And so that's why they recruit other people to then recruit other people, because if they have like an in-between person between them and the pimp, then the pimp in their mind will get less charges and different things like that. But there is under no circumstances, even though the power structure looks different, at the end of the day, the bottom bitch is the one that's going to get killed if somebody doesn't have their money, or if a girl, something happens, she's going to be the one, or he's going to, be the one responsible for it in most situations, at least in my experiences. Now, everybody's experiences is different. That's why it's so important to have women like Sparky and me and other people speak up, because just because that was my experience doesn't mean that was somebody else's.
Okay, and one other thing I want to point out here real quick, with both your platform and Sparky's platform, it's not just for survivors of sex trafficking. It's for women that have problems.
Yes. So for definitely, for my channel, I can speak on like I have people that are men and women that come that have all kinds of different situations going on, domestic violence for both men and women. I've had people with, sexual assault, human trafficking, whatever. Survivors are survivors. You have survived a very traumatic situation. And even if you're just, you know what I mean? Like, even if you're just telling your story here and there every now and then, it's still powerful. It's still amazing. And even if you're not telling your story, just to be in the room with other people that you can recognize from the, like Sparky said, she, we listen to each other, because I go and listen to her channel sometimes and just listen. And it's nice just to have somebody, because I'll be like, man, she reminds me of one of my homegirls, that is now dead. So it's nice being around her, even though we're two different people, our journeys are two different things. And that's what's so beautiful. They're unique in their own ways and going to help so many, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and I think, and I'm not speaking for Sparky, she's in the comments, but her channel the same way. She wants to empower people. She wants people to have, just have that space to where they're there. And no, it's not just for people that have been through the things that we've been through. It's a community, right? This is something we've all, regardless if you were a 2020 protester or you decided to protest whenever you did. One thing I think we all realized, because what we're all building are communities. And so this is just another branch of a community in both channels, you know what I mean? That you can be there and just support each other.
Can you speak on men, boys that were abused in some way, whether it be through church, whether it be through Boy Scouts, whether
Yes.
it be through, because all of these, that is so taboo, and men, we carry burdens, we carry
Yes.
unnecessary baggage, we have unnecessary pain that we don't let go of because we don't acknowledge it. Can you talk about that a little bit?
I can actually, because I also help male, have helped male survivors, and have some amazing advocates that are brothers. And this is just my opinion. Obviously, I'm not a man, but this is what I see, right? We live in a society that we have made it to where men are supposed to stuff everything. You know what I mean? Like, you can't talk about what's happened to you. If you talk about the abuse and whatever, then it makes you a weak person or whatever. This is what people for many, many generations have been doing. And what that does is that doesn't help anybody. That doesn't, men or women can not only be victims, but they can be abusers. There's just as many women pimps You know what I mean? Like, and women sexual assaulters, and abusers, because in domestic violence and all of that. So men very much well so get abused. And so that's, and what I love about my channel, especially, I have a lot of men. I have sometimes more men that come up on the panel than women at times. You know what I mean? Because I create a space to say, I see your pain and I understand your pain. And like, they all, we all need support. We for so many times, and yes, there are and should be places that are just for men and just for women, right? But there also has to be places that we can coincide with each other and try to understand each other, because a male victim's pain is no less than my pain. You know what I mean? Like, they've went through shit, I've been through shit. And and everybody advocates differently, and that's okay too, right? But this is just how I choose to advocate. I choose to advocate this way because I have sons. I have a husband that had things happen to him, right? And so, and I have sons that, God forbid, if anything was to ever happen to them, I want them to have a voice. I want them to have some badass advocate that's going to stand up and say, no, this is not okay. You know what I mean? So that's what I try to do, because I just believe that, like, and for me, and this is just how I advocate, I have sons and daughters. And so I want to try to help whoever it is that needs help. You know what I mean? Because if we don't have help and we don't have resources and we don't have support, then there's a couple things that can happen. People can become abusers, you know what I mean? Or people can, commit suicide because they don't have support, and just all kinds of different things. And so I strongly believe that, everybody, men and women that are victims should have the support that they deserve. Okay, and acknowledge that they're paying.
What about the concept that a man gets abused, he doesn't deal with it, does he become an abuser?
So I can say it could happen, because and I can also say that for women, because I was also an abuser when it came to domestic violence. Like, because and I had to step back and check myself on that. I would like put hands on dudes because that's all that ever happened to me from a young child. My mother, my father, my dad's never did, but my mom and every dude I've ever been with beat the shit out of me. So then when I got with people, I started beating the shit out of them. So yes, it can happen. I became that person as a woman. I'm not a man, but yeah, can that happen? 100%. And one thing for my healing journey, I have to be accountable for my actions. When I was a bad mother, I have to own that. When I was a bad wife or a bad girlfriend, I have to own that, because then I can't move forward if I don't. And so, yes, I do think men, if it can happen to me, do I think men that have seen abuse or even been abused? Because there's also men that see abuse and it affects them just as much. Maybe they seen their mother get beat or something like that, because not everybody's been abused, but they may have been around abuse. And that also can set a precedent on why so many households and so many kids and so many shit's fucked up, because it's not just the abused people that abuse affects. It's also the people that never get touched, but see their parents get the shit beat out of them every day.
Okay. I just looked over here. 10-year-old boy in Florida arrested and charged with misdemeanor battery for touching his teacher's breast. Okay.
I don't know. I don't really speak on cases until I look at them for myself. So I don't know.
Okay. We have legal prostitution in some counties in Nevada, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and it doesn't.
And you have spoken on the fact that legal prostitution is not something you're in favor of. Let's just say, me, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I am not in a position to have as much sex as I would like to have, okay? Mm-hmm. If I could go and pay to have sex with someone, I don't know if I necessarily would do it.
Right.
But why is that not an option? You said it opens up, and I'm not. I'm asking.
Right. I know what you're saying.
Okay, I'm asking legitimately.
Yes.
Because a lot of people in the chat think that if it were legal, it would solve a lot of problems. You seem to think it would create problems.
Okay,
and
so
I'd like to know why.
Let's look at the places that have it legal, right? Do you think the rapes have went down in those communities?
I don't know, honestly.
I mean, but we have
probably
researchers.
not.
All of us, they have
probably not, because
not.
the person that's going to rape, that's not about sex
But,
as much as it's about power and
but it is actually rape
control.
Does actually have a lot to do with power and control. So, but anything like that, anything,
Okay.
if you pay for sex, like it's not gonna solve anything, because what happens is people do get raped when you pay for sex. Okay, whether because just because you pay for a prostitute, that doesn't mean that somebody cannot be raped. Prostitutes get raped all the time, because sometimes it's not, the initial date might not even be about like sex. Because again, everybody thinks prostitution is about sex, and it's not always about sex. Sometimes it's just about company and things like that. But I think it should be decriminalized so victims don't get into a lot of trouble. Because if you legalize something and then somebody gets hurt or whatever like that, and then they need to go prosecute it, it makes it a lot worse. I mean, the same reason you can walk in a bar and buy a girl fucking shots and go home and sleep with her. So just put a little bit of work in and you can do that. Period. What the fuck do you gotta go? You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of women that'll go to the bar, and listen, I ain't knocking that, because if I wasn't married and I decided I wanted to go get laid and I was gonna go to, that's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to a bar and some dude's gonna buy me a shot and we're gonna go and do our thing, right? So that, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand the concept of buying a person, because that's what you're doing, you know? And so because I know the psychological damage, you know, and maybe not for the customer at the time. Like most tricks go home and don't even think twice about it. They don't know that just because that one trick was a good trick, that doesn't mean every one of person's like that. It's just not. I mean, yeah. I know what torture chambers look like. I know what all this shit looks like for reasons. My pimps hurt me less than tricks did. Women go into a hotel room when they you know, had an appointment or whatever, whether they're forced or not forced, you know, and have to look underneath beds because people put guns and handcuffs and all this crazy shit because they can't do. I've even had a guy tell me, well, I ain't gonna beat my wife, but I can knock the shit out of you. You ain't nothing but a whore. So it's not going to change whether you legalize it or not. It's not going to change the psychological aspect that people look at prostitutes. So the actions are not going to change. So no, it doesn't need to be legal.
Okay. Sparky, welcome back.
Technology, man. Technology.
Yeah, I know. We've all been there. So what are your thoughts?
Like after hearing how Summer felt about it, I totally agree with that, because you know what? If you legalize it, she still ain't worth shit. She still doesn't have any value to the rest of the world. So if somebody kills her, who cares?
Right.
Just legalized. She's selling her ass. She put herself in that position. She's just a piece of property.
We legalized alcohol, and women and men get beat up every day, and people get killed every day because of alcohol. You know what I mean? So it doesn't change the fact. And personally, I don't like alcohol because of the way people get abused. But I know alcohol is different than prostitution. But it's the fact. It's the mindset. We live in a world, because it ain't just our country. It's everywhere, that certain people, addicts, prostitutes, homeless people, it doesn't matter. The people look at them like they're the fucking problem. No matter, there might be people. Yeah, they're mentally ill, disabled people. You know what I mean? There's a whole society, and I don't give a shit who says they don't do it, because I've seen people talk shit in these comments. I pay attention to everything. Right. You know what I mean? And people say some of the craziest shit, and I'm just like, okay, so you think legalizing prostitution is going to solve something, but the mentality on how we look at certain class of people is not going to change that. So the problem's going to continue. Nah, I'm good. We'll keep saying things the way they are and protect victims more and make it decriminalized to where these women don't get caught up in it. Sorry, go ahead, Sparky.
I don't like these friendly, fucking fluffy, like icing over the cake words either. These people are fucking child rapists. That's what it is for me. Like, I totally agree with Summer's point on that, because I didn't think about it that way. Like, Like if they would decriminalize marijuana, people wouldn't go to jail for it. Like there'd be
That needs to be legal.
there'd be
helps
more
people.
space in the jails for people that they're actually not doing their jobs taken care of. If all these people weren't sitting in jail for weed. But my thing with it is, yeah, decriminalize it, because if you decriminalize it, we can start catching these sick bastards that are selling children. That's for me. You know, like I'm for all victims and survivors, and like we've all been through all these things. The main thing that I'm gonna disappear someday, y'all. Somebody's gonna shoot me or whatever, because I want these people that sell children and mistreat children to be brought to justice. And if they have, like, if we do popcorn parties and swing, then that's what we do. And oh, by the way, I want to throw some trivia in on that, like to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. Did you know that popcorn presented itself at the 1876 Philadelphia World Fair?
I knew it was at a World's Fair that popcorn was introduced. I
It was
didn't know
the
what year.
Philadelphia Fair. My thing, like, I'm for everybody. I love people. I don't have politics. I don't have religion. I've been there. I've done that. I want people to, like, be delivered and set free from cages they're standing in that the fucking doors are standing wide open on. How many times have you caught yourself standing in a cage that the door was standing wide open on? And I don't stay mad at anybody for long. I forget that people are pissed off at me, and I try to hug them when I see them. Like, that's just who I am. And I just really think it's important that there's too many children. I didn't get to go back to being a little girl. None of us got to go back to being children, male or female. No, we could not consent, and we did not understand. So, like, fuck your second chances with that shit. You can have your second chance, but you need to go over here out of the limelight, and you need to practice all accountability to straighten yourself out as a human being, no matter what happened to you. Like, it does, being a victim does not give you the right to become abuser later. It just doesn't. And I understand that happens, and it happens a great deal with men. But what happens to these children like that? We have to stop it with the children. It has to stop at the children, or it keeps progressing into society. And we have to stop this. We don't talk about what goes on at our house shit.
We got two things from the chat. One was, if it were legal, would more people be forced into it, or would and the second is keeping it illegal protecting victims?
Actually, keeping it illegal does. So if we could decriminalize, so this is why it's important to know language, right? So if we could decriminalize prostitution, it still keeps it illegal, but then it gives more protection to the victims. Instead of them going to jail and getting into debt bondage, what keeps them in there, say there's a chick that gets busted, right? And the police, say there's a raid, right? Say that she goes somewhere and it's cops there, okay? And say if she has to go to, maybe she was like not really, you know, trying to get kind of, because a friend of mine, she was killed on her last call and she was trying to get out of the life, but she tried to go, she needed school supplies. So her back was against the wall and she went and worked a night. That was going to be her last night, right? Well, say for instance, a girl like that walks in and say she's like, I'm just going to do this one more thing. I got to make this last little bit of money. And so, you know, sometimes this isn't really what's going to happen, but this is what's in her mind. And she walks in and she gets busted and she gets arrested, right? So now she's got to get a lawyer. She's got to pay fines. She's got to bond out of jail. So that's what we call debt bondage, right? But if it's decriminalized and say the same scenario happens, there's she gets in, she walks into a sting or something like that. Then she comes down and she meets somebody like me or Sparky, right? And then she gets resources. She knows that there's help, because even though all of us are sitting on here on YouTube and all these other places, and we're talking about help these kids, help these women, help these men, help these boys, that language is not going on. I'm just 7 years out of it, okay? So I can tell you, human trafficking, we're like, what the fuck is that? That's not even a conversation we're listening to, much less being around us. You know what I mean? So while all you all are saying we're doing, and I'm fighting and Sparky's fighting and we're trying to make a difference, and I'm out here going, hey, let's get it decriminalized. They don't give a shit about it. Like, they're like, what the fuck's that mean? I'm just going to go to jail and it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
So there's that aspect of it. And then go ahead, Sparky, and then I'll tell you the other aspect. Go ahead, Sparky.
Yeah. The question: if they legalize it, if you kill a whore, you killed a whore. If you go in and beat a prostitute up, you went in and beat. She's in that life. She chose that for herself. She's a subhuman being because it's legal, and she's a whore anyways. It's the first part of that question. All right.
And then like if you talk about so that's the criminal aspect of it, right? So yes, it gives more protection for the victims that are caught up in anything, because sometimes you might not know that victim is actually a victim of trafficking. That woman or that man or whatever that walked in, you might think they're there on their own, but they may have a pimp. They may be being a traffic victim or whatever, right? And so you don't know that. So so that's the criminal aspect of things. But even on the aspect of legalizing it or not legalizing it, it's not going to change. I mean, and this is no disrespect, but I can't tell you how many times I've seen in the comments, prostitution is the oldest thing in the books. It's the mentality that we got to be able to change, right? Until we change the mentality, it doesn't matter if it's legal or illegal. Victims, we will always create victims. We will always make excuses for abusers. We find things, we put things in categories to make them comfortable for us so we can digest it. We have to stop being fucking comfortable. The more uncomfortable and the more reality, and that's why people like Sparky and people like myself and other people that speak up on the abuse that they've been to, when I tell people I've been buried alive, when I tell people I've had a gun in every orifice of my fucking body, they're like, oh my God. But that happens a lot. But because society is so just the mentality that we've all been groomed at, we've all been pimped out, because whether people believe it or not, whether it's society, the government, politics, the news, everybody's being pimped out. Everybody's being fucking groomed. And so that's why I don't understand. I guess people would have to come to that realization and actually grasp that to understand, or even begin to understand why me and Sparky would end up in the positions we end up in.
Somebody asked, what if it was more like going to a therapist? If it was viewed, okay, as going to a therapist, because a guy or a woman needs sex and they have no other,
jerk off.
Well, yeah, okay. There's porn. There's okay, but hypothetically, if it was more like going to a therapist, licensed, regulated, professional, requirements for license qualifications, because I think it's kind of like that in Amsterdam, if I'm not mistaken, that there are licenses, that there are physicals, that are, but what you're saying, Summer, is it's not going to change how the woman is looked at, and that is the whole bottom line. Correct?
If we could change the mentality of just the way society thinks, right? Mm-hmm. Then we could talk about these little wishful, safe little things. And let me tell you something, just for FYI, I'm not, if somebody is not being forced to do something, I'm pro sex work. I'm like, hey, you do what you want to do. And now I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to say, oh, it's going to be great. You're going to make millions of dollars and things are going to be fabulous. Right. No, these are the things that can happen to you. But it's not my place to sit here and tell somebody what they shouldn't do for anybody. But what my job is to do is to speak up and say, okay, I understand in some situations people have not had any issues, but because of the way that society has been just groomed to think, until we can change that mentality, we can never even discuss what about therapy.
Okay.
In my opinion. Wow. Go ahead, Sparky.
Fucking wow. Wow. Okay.
And hey, if I ask anything that's uncomfortable,
no.
These are great questions. Yeah, this is a great conversation.
Yeah, please don't ruin my training.
I want people to always, and this is one thing about me. Yes, I'm very passionate, and this is what I do, right? I'm a public speaker. I train. I go to colleges. I do all this shit. So I get very passionate about it, but I want people to understand I'm not shaming anybody for any question. I want you to ask me every question anytime you feel like it, because you know what I mean? And I mean, I've been asked how much is a blowjob, and I told the lady, I don't know, ask your husband. I'm sure he paid for one. You know what I mean? Like, you may not like me. I may give you a once, but I'm just saying we can have this conversation. You know what I mean? So thank you for applying this platform to where people can ask the questions. And just FYI, I'm 40. I'm 43. I'm 43.
Yeah. Like, okay, I don't make any. Man, there's so much. Like, I hope I don't lose my whole train of thought on this. Okay, first and foremost, I don't care what. Like, I'm a lion. I don't care what you think about me. You can't dethrone me. You can't destroy me. You're not going to detach me from my purpose. You're not going to make me feel less about myself because I went through that shit. My whole freaking life. I've been fighting since I got here. And I know I look like this, but that doesn't mean I'm not a fucking lion and I won't rip your heart out. And it's a beautiful thing when you can like look at yourself and be like, man, that chick has brought me through so much. And I don't care what people think about over there. I tell everybody everything they need to know about me. Because if you're going to insult me, you got to be a creative ass person. And second of all, if you really know who I am, I don't have motives, that I really want to help. Mr. Rogers always said, look for the helpers, right? And like, it's a totally different experience. I'm from the streets. Like, I've been so polished. You hear me? I've been so polished. Because little people watch me and little people repeat the things that Nanny says. And the first time one of those little people said some shit everybody knew Nanny said, Nanny was in trouble. And I did not want the whole world to misunderstand my little person that I love so very much because I'm from the west side of Atlanta. There was maybe 12 white girls there ever. Like, I'm from the west side of Atlanta. There are certain terms of endearment that used to be used in my house that if you didn't know us and you didn't know where we were from, you'd be like, these bitches are racist as hell. And that's not what it was, okay? So if you decriminalize it, these women have avenues. I need some help, y'all. I need some help. There it is. I need some help. Alabama. Like, they hold the girls prisoners in the hotel. You don't see hookers walking the boulevard anymore. That disturbs me. They hold them prisoner in the I need help in Alabama. I'm so serious. There's very little mental health here. There's very little. Like, if you go from Atlanta, Georgia to Montgomery, Alabama, in Atlanta, Georgia, I still have 6 sheets of resources for you in Atlanta, Georgia, where you can go every single day of the week at any given hour to get clean clothes, a shower, something to eat. A church wants to pray for you. They have a clothing closet. This shelter over here will take you. I can drive you over here. They'll take you for free and help you get all your paperwork. Like, all these things going on in Atlanta. I'm in Alabama, and all there is Sparky in that green-ass truck going around feeding people on Sundays. There's not any of those resources here. There are, like, holy shit, y'all.
So what I would do, Sparky, if I was you, because like, it is just you right now, right? Like, in your community. But what you can do is you can go into, different, you can try to partner with people, right? And so go into different counseling places and say, hey, listen. And I know it sucks. It sucks because we know the system is broke, right? We understand that.
It doesn't suck. I need resources. I need information. I tried everything being the preacher. I tried everything being the street minister. I tried everything like being there.
But see, this is a job that's bigger. It's got to be more than just you.
I'm getting a piece of paper. Hold on, I'm getting a piece of paper because I'm a note taker, and I know you're fixing to give me some amazing information. And yeah, that's where I am in Alabama, y'all. I need some fucking help out here, people. There's not enough resources out here. There's nothing. Like, the mayor gave the Salvation Army like this plot of land that they make a tent city where you didn't have to be in the shelter, where you didn't have to do anything. You just had to show up, and it was a free piece of property. And I knew all kind of people out there and met all kind of amazing people out there. And they're building Whitewater there now. Like, what the fuck, y'all? You had a good thing going here where people could be reached and found and taken care of. And But there's nothing here for me, y'all. Like I'm the only resource, and I've been working 2 jobs till now. If
So
I
so
all
so
right,
so you
what was the first thing you said? Hold on, I gotta have notes, sister. You said
okay.
where?
So since there's lack of resources, you have to create resources, and the way do you create resources is you partner with certain places that are already in place.
And
Like
you said
there's therapy places in your town. We have a place called Seven Counties here, right? That's for low income people that need therapy and stuff, right? And so I go in there and tell them, I say, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. We'll say that your ministry is called BTM, okay? What's your thing? BMT, BTM.
everything I do as far as ministry goes is registered in an LLC.
Okay, what's the name of your organization?
I'm Lovers Lane.
Okay, so you walk in and you say, hey, and the fact that you're registered, oh my God, girl, we're going to get you some fucking help, okay?
Girl,
so you
I've
walk
been
in and you
registered
say,
for years.
you walk in and you say, hey, I'm with Lovers Lane. I'm the founder and executive director of Lovers Lane. And this is what I'm doing. You explain to them, I go out on the streets and I meet women where they're at because that's where we believe is the most effective.
Hey, write this shit down, people. People in your
Well, it's on video, so you can go back and re-listen to it.
Yeah. All right,
That's the good thing. And so you go to them and you say, hey, I'm with Lovers Lane. This is what we're doing in our community. I meet people that are caught up in, whatever kind of trauma, they're on the streets and we want to get them some counseling. Is there any way that I can partner with you if I have women that have insurance and things and I can send them to you and they can tell you the name of my organization and you realize who they are and what they're here for, and then you help them. Then you go to the free clinics because trust me, you got free clinics in your area and you partner with them. Hey, you know what? If I have a woman that needs some health, some any kind of health situations, can I send her here to your clinic and let her know that, Lovers Lane and such, medical clinic is partnering together. Then you go to your soup, you know what I mean? Like you just keep going. You even go to your hotels. Let me tell you with your hotels, what you can do. You can do outreach there. You can sit there and you can go to your hotels and say, hey, I'm with Lovers Lane. This is what we're doing. On Sundays or on Saturdays, I would like to come and set up here in your parking lot and offer anybody that's here condoms and lunches and socks and things like that. Now, I will tell you that I would really appreciate if you do go to the hotels because after what you said, that you don't go by yourself. At least have one other person with you just so you can always have eyes, your head on a swivel. But these are things that all of us can do to create resources.
That's a beautiful thought, girlfriend. I went to the streets in a boot with a baby for over a year. I
understand that, but the streets, it's with you doing your organization, it makes you look okay.
That's what, nobody wanted to go with me. I knew all these. I knew.
So I'm not going to say I can guarantee you, but I can say that if we get your stuff written up in a proposal way that it makes sense to your average person, because unfortunately, one thing that I have learned in this going to the new world, right? This new society that we're in, they like things that make sense. So when I have brochures, I have letterhead stuff that has important, proper things written on it and has all my, nonprofit and everything, my business shit, and so if we can get that tightened up a little bit on you and I can help you with that, right? It's very, very easy. It's not hard at all. You can go into churches. You can go into like different things, bowling alleys that have groups of women that bowl and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I was wondering if anybody'd like to volunteer. You can go to schools. You can go to the NAAA meetings and say, y'all need some community service for your hours. Well, I'm a nonprofit, so I can give you the hours for your community service. Come out here with me on the streets. You understand what I'm saying? There's wheels and ways around everything, baby.
Girl,
I promise you, I am a hustler. And when I say I get shit done, I
want you to know that too. Like I know how to hustle and I know what the game looks like. Like I never was that kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to take my dumb white girl sticker off. And
right.
I have this sense of naivety that nobody's ever been able to touch. And my son will be like, Mama, I know you didn't just miss that. I'm like, dude, I have to let so much go over my head so that I don't become a serial killer. That like you just have to give me that little bit. Like I'm not stupid, I'm not stupid.
I get it.
I have to let a lot of shit that people throw at me like go past, and It's a beautiful thing. Nobody ever got to touch that, but nobody ever has even here. I'm a public speaker. I was a preacher. None of these there need to be more resources, and I can give you 3 places, and 2 of them aren't going to take you. Like, what the fuck? It's Montgomery, Alabama. It's the capital of the state I work in. There's been plenty of homeless people, drug addicts, prostitutes, and pimps here for the last 30 years. The boulevard ain't changed since the first time I was here, except women don't walk up and down it anymore.
Okay, and so I'm gonna go off to what everybody's written in the chat. Honey, more than likely, and this is the realistic, and I mean, yes, I can live in a deja dream and be like, oh, I'm gonna, one day things are gonna change, and no, I don't do it for change. I do it for hope. I do it for a shot of hope, so the next person can see somebody like them that goes in places I'm not supposed to be in. I'm on the news. I'm on, you know what I mean? And I do this stuff not because I like it or I want to be seen, because I want to see women like me and you do the things people say we can't, and we can do anything. We survived this shit.
Girl,
are you kidding me?
Look, this train wreck, these motherfuckers just don't even know. I'm sorry, doofus. They don't fucking know. Like, you see me, you don't know shit about me. And I'm a big old gushy ass.
But you know what? We and why all that is very important. What's more important is to show everybody what exactly you about.
I love these people.
And helping the people that are still caught up. Because let me tell you something, and this you already know because you went on the streets, and I'm just reminding you what you already know, Sparky. I'm not telling you shit because you already know this. But you go out on that street, and when they see you, knowing that you used to smoke crack, knowing you used to turn tricks, knowing all this shit. And here you are now. It ain't just some church person that Jesus laid it on their heart and they feel like, hold on, wait a minute. No, listen to this just for a second, babe. Listen, I promise you. You're not some church person or some regular individual that Jesus put it on their heart. You came from them streets. You smoked crack. You turned tricks. You jumped in and out of those motherfucking cars. You are more effective than anybody in that motherfucker because you are what they want to get to, because you know as well as I do. None of us want to be there. We're there because that's where we're at in that particular time.
Yeah. And man, I wish a bitch like me had come along. I'm so serious.
You are that bitch, honey.
You
are that bitch.
I go down there. Like, I still see them. They still pray for me. They still flag me down the streets. Like, this was, but like they would like hide their beer from me and stuff. I'm like, what you doing that for? I like beer too. Like, they've been out. I'm like, dude, look, I love you. I don't care what you do. Like, you're smoking dope. I don't give a shit about you drinking some beer. Can I have a beer? Because all these religious people come down there with this, like, and they make them feel a certain kind of way. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be, man, I came to see you because I love you.
Are you fresh breath of air.
I miss it so much, but there are no resources here. I need help in Alabama, y'all. Like, okay, I'm in politics. I need fucking help in Alabama for the homeless people and the prostitutes and the veterans and the people that are mentally ill.
I can tell you, Sparky, I know for a fact that there's people in Alabama. You just got to get things to where things make sense, because I know people that do work down there. Okay. So I know there's shit, and it's just like anywhere else, but it's not what it's what Sparky's Sparky's going to make, because Sparky is going to have a different effect than other people. That's why you're having, listen, I know you don't, you whatever, but I believe in my belief factor. The reason why they're not having a lot of people is because this work is not for a lot of people. There's going to be certain people that are going to come alongside you and have different roles. There's going to be people that are going to be providing your supplies, providing your prayer. They may never go out on the streets with you, and that's okay.
They all did that till I quit preaching. I had that.
But it ain't about preaching, because the streets don't give a shit about you preaching. They care about you showing up.
5 years, girlfriend. Like, I'm telling you, I had great abundance and prosperity in that for 5 years. Nobody wanted to go, and I was okay with that. But like, when I walked away, and it was, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't like attack anybody. I didn't hurt anybody. I just left.
And I get it, because
I just left. I
had a lot of church people around me, and you know what, Sparky, what I realized, and I had the wrong type of church people around me, but I broke free from that as well. And it's The streets is the church, right? And so it's just the right people will come alongside of you and they will help. And something you have to realize is, I used to scream to God, why don't somebody do something? When I was being trafficked, when I was being abused, when I was in fucking dope houses,
why is you fucking helping me? You see what my life looks like.
But hold on, he is. Help. Because you're sober, you're the fucking help. I'm the help. We're screaming.
Yeah.
Help us,
I know that.
I know that. Help.
Oh God, I know that, y'all.
We are the help.
You just taught me a whole bunch tonight, because I'm telling you, Doofus, my YouTube channels are 4 years old. I have 3 YouTube channels. There was nobody there but my crazy ass talking to myself. And this thing has happened. And this is who I am. Like, I'm from the streets. Like, I know people look at me and they I don't care what they see or they think or what their preconceived notions are. And I tell everybody everything there is to know about me. And I have no mental illness to report for this past year. Thank you very much. And
I wish I could say that.
For the first time ever, I don't have any mental health days I took. I can't tell you that I was in a moment of absolute insanity this year. And furthermore, I celebrated 18 years of sobriety. And you know what I'm saying? But it's such a beautiful unfolding, and nobody gave me, I've been screaming for information. Help me. This is important to me. These people fucking matter to me. I don't care
what, Sparky, the most knowledge, and I don't mean to cut you off, but the most knowledge I got was from people online, my survivor community. And let me tell you something, because somebody in the comments says Sparky's over her head. No, she's not. Sparky's right where the fuck she needs to be. And she's gonna be, and she's very effective. She's already effective because she holds a channel.
You say I'm in over my head. I'm gonna tell you something. Let me hold up. I'm not in over my head. Every single homeless person in the city of Montgomery, Alabama, I know his fucking name.
Yep.
I know what size shoes he wears. I know what size shirt he wears. I know his belt, his pants, whether he's had clean socks in the last 2 weeks. I know where he works if his ass works. And I've never, ever in my life been in over my motherfucking head. Ever. Ever. I know them.
No, not at all.
You were. I know them. They're my people. I'm so serious when I tell you that. If I stop on a street corner and give some dude that's panhandling money, I know his name. I know everything about him as a human being that is valuable. Yeah, he's homeless. Yeah, he could probably go hustle somewhere else besides standing on the street. But I know their asses. I've never been in over my head. I walk my fucking talk. I walk talk. I walk my talk so hard people hate me for it. And you know what? That's because your ass wants to be like me. You wish you could walk your talk as hard as I walk mine. And I didn't have Summer's experience, but I've been from the same places. And I'm going to tell you, them bitches said you ain't leaving here unless it's in a body bag, you dumbass white girl. And I hear you see me 18 years later, what body bag? And I took my kid up out that bitch too. Hello.
And that's why you are exactly what your community needs, regardless. So, you know what I mean? And people, and that does bother people because we can walk in our truth. I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm not ashamed of one trick, one dope, nothing I've ever done. And let me tell you, I'm not the person I used to be because I walk over a dead body to get what I wanted. But that's the mentality I had to have to survive what I went through. Most people would never survive the things we've been through. Yes, they were different, but yet they're the same. They are they bring us together. So, I don't care what naysayers say, and we ain't gonna pay attention to that. What we gonna do is continue to be the effective powerhouse fucking women that we are.
You don't know, dude, this piece of nobody said that to me. I'm screaming at people, help me. What can you help me do? How can I get a foothold in the community to get help for these people? I've been here since 2009. I had a street for 5 years. All they ever did was lock my people up.
Yep. And it's and I agree with ACB. It is community. Government is never going to save us. They're not going to fix shit. We have to take care of us. That's why people like us that get out of the things we've been through. And listen, I don't knock non-survivors that get in the work that I do. I think it's a beautiful thing that if you've never been through something, that means you believe in humanity and you want to sit there and help the next person, right? But people that have been through some things, that's the reason why we have to go back. That's why the whole reason why we are here, to go back and reach in and help the same community that that should have killed us but did not. We walk straight through those doors and we continue to rebuild and rehelp and give people shots of hope. And fuck do ya anybody that don't like it.
I used to go back down there all the time, right? I used to go to a church named Hebrews 11. And I used to go back down there all the time. I used to tell everybody, come go to church. I pick everybody up in my truck and drive them up the street, right? And I've been face to face with a little boy that was in my house every day for 3 years and didn't know who the hell I was. I'm like, you want to go to church? And he's like, who are you? I'm like, you don't know me? He's like, I know you some crazy ass white lady down here in the trap trying to get me to go to church with her. I said his name. And when I said his name, he was like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, it's Sparky, bitch. You want to go to church? Like, don't stand here like you don't know my ass. And it was just an amazing thing that happened. And a lot of people, I would go back down there. I'd be like, dude, you can do better. A lot of people follow me out. And I have this one memory of my ex-husband. I got an apology from my ex-husband in the last 2 weeks. And it was big. I had to read it twice. And it was from someone else's profile. And he just said, look, it's Murphy and I'm in this program. I've been here 4 weeks. It's 13 weeks. And I just want to tell you that I'm sorry that you didn't deserve that. He ain't never said he was sorry. Like, how many people don't get their apology?
Right. I think that's a powerful thing.
My girlfriend's like, girlfriend, didn't you hear him say? I said, he ain't never said he was sorry. I got middle of the night phone calls talking about you're this, you're that. Like, it was never, I love you, I miss you, I'm all fucked up, I wish you were here. It was all this hateful ass, you're this, you're that. Like, like the worst, like your enemies wouldn't even talk to you that way if they knew you face to face. And yeah, I thought that was beautiful. But I'm telling you, girlfriend, like, look here, this is huge. This is huge.
There's a reason why we met. You know what I mean? Because there's things we both can learn off of each other, right? And that's what it's all about.
From you, I'm not a prideful woman. I've learned so damn much from you. Like, I was like, holy shit, why didn't I think of that? Like,
but you know, it's and that's why we all cross our paths, right? And that's why I'm so glad, and I think Doofus, because our friendship was birthed right here.
We're in the pinball machine. We're in the Keymasters pinball machine. Crossing off all of us,
right?
It's the Keymasters pinball machine when it's dealing with Doofus. It's like he just unlocks people, and it's beautiful when, like, I've seen people come on and they were idiots. Like, they just went into attack mode and they had this one reason they were there. When they had a golden opportunity where somebody honored them in their presence to be like, well, you know, we could talk about this, but let's talk about this. And let me tell you how wonderful this thing is that's happening for me. And thank you for having me on your show. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of people just like ditch them, like they crash their planes even further nose down. And I'm like, why would you do that when somebody thought enough of you to give them your platform, you know, to share their platform with you? And the best you got is to come on and like talk all kind of shit about somebody else. You don't really have anything going on for yourself to share with their community. So yeah, Barry, I love you, man. You're my boy. I love you. I do.
Very
and
cool. Very
like,
good
we
dude.
think of you, and we hope you're doing well. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you inherited the shit show, and I'm sorry that happened to you, because sometimes it's funny as hell, but most times it's not, and it's pure ignorance, and it's just fucking irritating.
Yeah, but we can get above it. I mean,
I can, but
this whole episode tonight is not about the shit
I just
show.
love that
This
you
is about,
like offer your platform. Like, I want to offer my platform to people, but I only trust certain people to do that with because of the experience I've already had on YouTube. And it's really sad that my channel's all jacked up, where there are people there I never get to see, that never get to talk to me. Like, they get to participate, but I don't get to see it. And people tell me that there's no sound, and there's just all this stupid stuff that goes on my channel. That's kind of heartbreaking, and I get to come over here and see them in your channel. I'm looking at people right now that are my subscribers that I love with all my heart, and I don't get to see them unless I go to somebody else's channel, and I think that's pretty sad for YouTube. When I have no one blocked, I've cleaned all accounts out.
Well, let's see if we got some questions here at the end. All right.
I love
Alrighty.
you, Summer.
Love you too, beautiful. Warriors, baby, warriors.
Girl, they'll never beat our asses.
And you know what's funny is me and Sparky get each other, right? Because I see some of the people in the comments is like, man, Sparky's not getting to talk to, and I, we understand because we're from the streets. That's the similarity we do have, is how each other talk. So if I did cut you off or anything like that, Sparky, my bad. But I'm pretty sure we had a good flow and was,
Girl, you're so
pretty dope.
tame. You're so tame compared to me. 7 years
girl.
on the street. Look,
Oh,
7 years.
whoa! Hold on, Sparky.
You ain't seen me.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
No.
No.
Like I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like I have the privilege and honor to be able to look back and see myself and be like, in the increments of time, it's beautiful that you're still you and you're not making apologies. And girlfriend, like I was raw. I was being the monster. I didn't give a shit what you heard me say. Like I just learned to cuss again in the last 2 years because I was such a Jesus freak. I never even cussed once I left the street. Like it was all Jesus for me. So
Well, I love that you look at me so highly, but just wait, Doofus tell her I act like a whole jackass at times.
Oh, girlfriend, look, we're gonna do a road trip and prove that to one another, okay? No, I
Look-
love
You'll see me Tuesday.
Louisville is a central location. Yeah.
It's a feeling to home. I mean that with all my heart. It's a feeling to home when you've loved all these people that have come and gone and and have died and have left you, to like just run across a person that you're like, holy shit. Yeah, that's my person. And that's a beautiful thing that like I never get offended by anything she says to me, and I know it's always coming from a place of love, and she really does get me in a world. I live in a world where no one gets me. I mean, like she has. I'm starting to live in a world where people are starting to get me, but like Summer gets me, and I can't imagine being buried alive and you're still here. Like, holy shit, who does that to people? But it all goes back to me being that person. I'm gonna give your ass so much trouble. Like I'm gonna give your ass so much trouble.
But listen. That's why I got put in the box, okay? Because I was given trouble.
Telling
you know what I mean? Like I'm not one that's gonna conform very easily. And that's why I got in so much trouble and probably was hurt as much as I was, because I try to be like, I understand the role and the position that I play, and I'm starting to understand that more. So I try to, keep me somewhat together, you know what I mean? But I promise you, like I'm that, I promise you. I'm a fucking mess. I am a fucking mess.
I have practiced holding myself together so much that if you ever see me like just go straight off the grid in Vietnam on anybody, that's something that probably hasn't happened in 10 or 11 or 12 years, because I had to practice self-control to the fifth degree. And I appreciate, I do. I love you, Summer. You crack me up, man, girl. Like, holy shit.
Well, I'm a straight, okay. I mean, I'm a very straightforward person. Like, that's just how I am. And if I believe
I can appreciate that.
If I have a relationship with you and we call each other sisters, then you know what I mean? We gonna say things sometimes. I may say things that you may not like, and you may say things I may not like, or it may work out benefit for us.
We all need people to call us out on our shit and make us own it, and us to still be standing there like, well, holy shit, she's right, but she still loves me, and I don't have to be pissed off at her because she said this to me.
Right. Because if you help each other grow in that aspect, right? You know what I mean? And even me, like, I don't know how many times I'm working on not cutting people off, because I'm just, there's a lot of things that I'm a work in progress on. So please don't anybody, because there's going to be days I get up on live and I'm just like, man, fuck this. Fuck you. Your mama should have swallowed you. You're all fucking bitches. You could suck my dick. I'm going to do that. I promise you. Well, It just hasn't happened because you all came in at a good moment, but it will. You know what I mean? So please do not do not put me on a pedestal because I will.
No,
hang
it
myself.
ain't even like that. No, it ain't even like that. It ain't even like that, girl. It's just really good to like feel a common ground is good soil to walk
Yes.
on. I say
Yes,
that all the
100%.
time.
Well, what we have is different. That no one,
Man,
unless
like,
they're a survivor, is not going to feel that. So we're on a different level than
yeah, I
everybody
haven't
else
had it in a long
because
time.
we've
Yeah,
been there.
and look, Barry, look, Barry, I love you. I'm so thankful to you. I am. My channel would not be what it is if you hadn't have just brought me on. Like it wouldn't be. And I don't care who doesn't like me because of Ant. I love his crazy ass. I'm so much that person that like he triggers me. I'm like, holy shit. It's season 5. I don't get to leave, damn it, Ant. Like you should have stayed at the waterfalls. But he like triggers me and it's funny and it's worth protesting and it's worth like sticking to the subject until we get to the bottom of the problem and people start getting assigned orange jumpsuits. Like, I mean that with all my heart. Like, some people will look at it and be like, oh, she's just in the drama and blah. No, I believe what he's saying. And until people start going to jail, these people are going to continue to act like the 5-year-old idiots that they are. And they're going to think that they can get away with everything on the face of the planet because people are not holding them accountable for their dumbass actions.
I want everybody to know. I've got a question here from Telescope that we're going to end on. I want everybody to know
Hey,
that
Telescope.
when I met Summer in person, Summer had a 45 caliber pistol on her hip. We were in a location where a lady named Mama Rose
That's my baby.
had a 2-foot machete on her hip. It wasn't for show. It was because shit was going down all around, and the threat of even bigger crap happening was always there. So that's where I met Summer in person.
And I'm a little shit. A lot of people think because of my voice that I'm bigger. I'm only 5 feet tall. So Doofus was like, yeah, you're smaller than I thought.
I'm like, I can't believe I just heard Barry say shit.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have. But back then it was
You're
shit.
Only 5 feet tall? Are you fucking kidding me?
No, she's about 5'2", 5'3".
No, I'm 5.5. I'm 5 feet and a half.
Oh,
are you really?
Dynamite comes in small packages.
She also has always had boots on every time I've seen her.
Well,
I do wear boots a lot. Yes.
Short girls like heels.
You might have to kick a door in. You never know.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And somebody might need something.
I love my steel toe boots, and I will kick your ass to death. I will. I'm so sorry. Like,
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I think it's great.
But yeah, like I get it, man. Look, when me and Summer get together for a weekend, there's going to be an entire shift in the universe.
I would love for you to, if you ever can come up and visit me, because I can bring you out with me and just to be able to
I'm coming. Girl, you bet your ass I'm coming, girl. I got 7 weeks of training, and from then on, I'm off Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. My bitch ass is coming out there. I got to see this.
They, they have Comic-Cons and those kind of conferences and get-togethers.
Go to the streets,
we need to have some kind of convention like that.
We're having. Wait a minute.
To get the YouTube community together.
When my channel gets monetized, we are having Popcorn Squad Camperama. And we have a place. We already have the property and a place. And I want it to be like around Halloween or Day of the Dead. We're having Popcorn Squad Camperama next fall.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're going to fundraise for it if we have to. That's what we're going to do. And what it's going to be is I'm going to make sure everyone has the gas to get there and the gas to get home. And I'm going to host this a Popcorn Squad Camperama. And we're going to get the bonfire and sit around and talk shit like girls do or guys do or whoever wants to come. Yes, that's what we're doing. But I'm going to go see Summer way before that, bro. I got to go.
All
I gotta
right.
go.
Here we go. This question's from Telescope. Uh, American Doofus channel. Will you ask what is wrong with regulation? It provides more legal protections and safety for the people. Thanks.
So I've already explained that, and I would just say go back and listen to it when we touch base. I will never be for legalizing prostitution, and I've already stated why, because it doesn't carry the even in places like in the other counties where it's at, that it is like legal in like in Nevada. I have a sister that runs an organization called Hookers for Jesus, and she can tell you that just because it's legalized, people are still being harmed, things are still happening, and victims don't, and survivors don't, or prostitutes or trafficking victims, whatever you want to call it, don't get the legal protection like everybody thinks. Now, in decriminalizing it, we do, and that's already been proven. And so that's just where I'm at with it. And I'm one person. People can believe and think how they feel. I'm pro sex work, against anti-human trafficking. You know what I mean? So, but I realize that legalizing every single thing, even though I am pro sex work, legalizing everything's not going to stop everything. That's going to create a bigger issue in different ways. I mean, the red light district, look at, you know what I mean? And granted, it's across seas, but a lot of shit that's across seas, believe it or not, we mimic. And so if that happens, if you think, I mean, we can't even get people to stop fucking simple shit. You know what I mean? So you just open something like that. I just don't think it's a good idea. So.
Okay. You get yourselves a presentation together and have a rally or conference, you would not only bring awareness, but think of maybe the women that would attend to get help. That's from Liberty Bell for you too.
Let's see. You'll get yourselves. So I actually have done conferences. Before the pandemic happened, me and another woman is the only people in the state of Kentucky that's ever done survivor-led conferences. I don't know if that's what he's talking about. But yeah, I've been in the aspect of the other side, helping in a pretty big, mighty way for a minute now, and I understand. And this is something that I want to talk to people to let people know, like when you get into advocacy work, it's very dangerous. You know what I mean? It's very, very dangerous, especially when you're getting into sexual assault, domestic violence, human trafficking, pedos. Like I see people, and listen, again, hold on. This is not directed to anyone that is listening to this. This is what I say all the time. Has nothing to do with anybody. I think people should listen to it, take what you want, leave the rest, because everybody's going to advocacy the way they want to, and they should be allowed to do that. So that's like my little black and white little fine print that I'm going to say. I just realized how fucking dangerous it is, and I've buried a lot of advocate workers that have gotten into the anti-human trafficking movement and the bringing down pedo movements and have been killed. So the only thing I'm going to say to anybody is always make sure that you understand this is not a fucking walk in the park. This isn't Sunday school at its finest. You know what I mean? Like, this is the worst of the fucking worst. And just because maybe the first couple people you advocate against or whatever are fuckboys, you will come across somebody that's not, and they're very dangerous, and they have a whole ring of people around them, and they can and will kill you and your family. So just know what you're getting yourself in, know the type of work that you're doing, understand all levels of it. I have a whole security team. I take a lot of precautions. I have ex-Navy SEALs, ex-people that help me and do the things that I do. You know what I mean? So be very educated on what you do, especially if you're going to get it into deep. Like, I help with extractions and things like that. So I'm in it very deep, and I'm still very public about who I am because I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But there's just certain things I talk about online, and there's certain things I will not talk about online. But my main focus is always to help victims.
And while you're very public with what you do, not everybody around you is very public.
100%. It's very rare when you see my team.
Yeah, right. You're a face for it, but the people that work with you don't see them. You don't. Yeah. No. Yeah. Even when I have to take it was a good couple of months even at the protest before people realized I had security, right? So you know what I mean? Like, you have to be very cautious of what you do. You have to be very educated in what you do, understands the different levels of things that you're doing, understand the community you're entering in. You know what I mean? But
yeah, you'll see me you'll see me, but it's very rare when you'll see people that work with me.
Right.
And you will never see me show victims. When I live stream on Wednesday nights when I go out on the streets. You will hear things that are going on, but you will never see anyone that I'm helping, because I will not put victims in danger, and I will not put myself in danger.
And Hellraiser, if you're messing with their money, they will kill you. You were talking about you're trying to end pedophilia, you're trying to end sex trafficking, you're messing with their money, and you mess with some people's money, they will kill you.
Yes, they will. And so and this is like, we have tracks and stuff like that, because I'm from my community, because I was in the life, and because, you know what I mean? Like my necessary thing isn't necessarily taking down traffickers and taking down pedos, right? My thing is to help victims. And so I go on the tracks, and I mean, I have to have somewhat kind of relationships with certain people to even be allowed to do the things that I do. You know what I mean? So you have to just really, and that's why I said, if Sparky was ever, and Sparky knows this from her own experiences, you know, but even with, it's still good to get trained with what's going on right now, because every day the life change. Every 30 seconds, the life change. 1 second things could be, you know, like right now, you don't see a lot of women walking tracks and blades anymore. A lot of people are being sold on the internet. A lot of people are in hotels and brothels, and it's just, you know,
they're prisoners. They're prisoners. They're prisoners. Like, it's scary. It's freaky to me. Like, I'm from a place where prostitutes walk the street always. And I live in a place where you don't see them. So that means they're prisoners, and everybody wants freedom. Everybody. Look at the Iranian women. Look at the Iranian people. They've been protesting for weeks. These folks can't get 12 people to show up for them. So yeah, like it's a beautiful thing to, you know, to know the life, but to like be delivered from it, and to still have a heart to want to go help, because that's why I'm not scared of anything. I took a baby down there with me.
Well, you know,
truck running. I'm in a boot. Like, you're not taking any of this. I'm here to love you and pray for you and be some kind of light in your dark universe. So like, nothing happened to me because of that. Like, I'm fearless. I'm fucking fearless. But it's beautiful that like I want to be able to do more. Like, I have time now. Everything that is played out has put me. I'm gonna work 4 days a week. Hello. I'm gonna be able to do what I'm supposed to be doing, which is like, that's the only thing. Like, I'm the girl with everything. That's the one piece of my life that needs to like click back into place so that I can be a blessing. Like, it doesn't matter who your God is, or like, I believe in humanity. I want to save the world, even though it's full of shitheads. But like, I have a spot to slip back into now, and that means so much to me, because I love my people. And these folks down here on these streets are my people, just like them folks up there in Atlanta were my people. And I'm just so glad to have some people in the universe that I can be like, look, man, I've been where you are, and I love you, and please let me hug you. I don't care if you stink. And you're my buddy, and you're my friend. And do you need some socks next time you see me? And did you get enough to eat? Or do you need an extra jacket? Like, you got a clean blanket? Those are my people. That's valuable to me. Those are the richest people in the world, are the people that I don't even have anything, but I can give something to them. And you can't buy what I can give to them, because I've been in their shoes.
And, you know, I seen somebody say something in the comments like this, you know, I want to help more, but I just don't really know. And that's why it's important, like, to support channels like Sparky's and mine, because the people that have listened, you know, to either one of us, you know, I talk about things all the time on my channel. Even if I start talking about one thing, it usually leads me into a conversation about something, you know what I mean? And so you get to learn the language, you get to learn certain things. I mean, no, I can't take you on the streets with me because you're not here. But if you're in Louisville, Kentucky, hit me up, as long as you're not fucking weird. Because if you try to hurt me, good luck. Just saying. Well, but you know, you can learn a lot from Sparky. You can learn a lot from me. You can learn different languages. You can, And and if you check your judgment at the fucking door and you lead with your heart, then you really can't go wrong. And then if you listen, people, you guys are lucky. You have 2 survivors of this particular type of stuff, right? Dude, you should support Sparky's channel. You should support my channel. You should listen to what we have to say.
It's a beautiful, like, how in the world can you hate somebody so much and think so little of them that you would want them to starve to death and not have any damn clothes to wear or clean socks on their feet, no matter how many fucking years they've been out there? Like, I know people been out there. They still out there. I know some of them that work like that's what it is. And until somebody comes along and you're finally like, okay, I really can do this. I'm tired of beating my head against the wall. But
and on the streets, there's all people, though. There's not just
everybody's out there like you.
Because there's veterans, there's families, there's all kinds of people on the streets.
Man, it's a shame. We live
Check your ego at the door and love on people. That's what we're supposed to do.
We live in the richest country in the world, and we got all these impoverished fucking street life people. Like, what the fuck? Like, we're the richest country in the world. How are we letting our folks live on the street with their babies? And I mean, like, how you going? I had to give my babies to somebody so I wouldn't be in the streets with them. And then everybody judged me because it wasn't a popular decision for me either. So I welcome the judgment. But like in the end, I beat myself up for years about it because I gave them to my grandmother. She wouldn't let me live with her. She mistreated me my whole life. It's a long, sorted, drawn out, like Marilyn Monroe kind of story. It's not even important. But I gave my boys to her, and I'm like, they have to live with you so they can go to school. And she's like, well, I don't want you living at my house because you're a stripper, and blah blah this and blah blah that, and like we're not gonna go into the rest of the Addams family shit, but it was a good decision to do that. And then they got shuffled around, and one day my youngest son looked at me and he said, Mama, I don't know what it is you think I went through as a child because of stuff you did, but she wasn't mean to us like she was to you.
Right.
She took care of us. She showed us a good time. We had nice clothes. We got to eat. We had a place to sleep. Like, I don't know what you think in your head because you had to leave me there, that she mistreated me the whole time I was there. She didn't. He's like, whoa, fucking whoa, y'all. My baby boy, he's like, Mama, I had a great childhood. I took my kids to all the parks. I didn't have shit. I barely had gas to get there, but me and my sister could run all over town when gas was 48 to 63 cents a gallon, and she lived way across town from me. I go get that bitch every morning. Her and her baby, come on, girl. Yeah, so I remember fussing that I spent $16.83 to fill up my Cadillac so we could go run all over town, and we wasn't even working. I'm like, where the fuck did we get $16 from? And she's like, well, yeah, and that was the beautiful thing for my kid to look at me. Like, we go through these lives and we have these journeys, and everybody goes through something. Everybody has a story. Some people get it's a tapestry of trauma and crazy ass shit that happened that shouldn't have, but it comes around. And it was just so beautiful for him to tell me, I didn't have a horrible childhood. I'm not mad at you. You didn't do anything wrong. We had such a good time being your kids. And that
and you know what? And a lot of people don't realize, sometimes because I had to give my kids to my family because I didn't want nothing to happen to my children. You know what I mean? People judge us for things. Like, I had an abortion. I had an abortion because I was pregnant by a trafficker.
That's so beautiful.
I was going to protect my baby, regardless of what anybody thinks or not. I protected my baby because I had an abortion, because I was pregnant by a trafficker. I protected my children because I let them stay with my parents so they didn't get hurt, even though that hurt us. You were still an amazing mom.
I taught them what kind of people to be and what kind of people not to be, and I didn't hide shit from them, and I was completely open and honest with them, and I was transparent. And when you're being transparent, you're vulnerable and people can hurt you. So I didn't screw my kids up.
No, you
Even
did
though
not.
I had one getting fucked up with me, you know what I'm saying? Like he's in the streets. But it was just a beautiful moment where like I got to, that big place where just like, and you let it
Yep.
all go. Just like, wow,
Yep.
didn't know that. I'm sorry.
Nothing to be sorry for.
Nothing
I,
at
wa-
all to be sorry
I
about.
want to thank both of you ladies. You've both been on here before, but this is the first time we tried to do this once before. It didn't work out. I'm so glad we did it tonight. I want to thank both of you ladies. I'm so incredibly proud to know both of you. You're both incredibly strong. You both are incredibly impactful and incredibly truthful and the real deal. And we your platforms help people, and I just hope that we can continue to direct people to your platforms. Before we say goodnight, Summer, you said you're going to come on tomorrow night around 9:30 and tell your story on your platform, right?
I am.
Okay.
I'm gonna. So at 9:30, I have it scheduled for 9:30. I plan on to come on and I'm gonna tell my story, and then I'm gonna show a documentary that I have that actually tells about from basically my last call to right when I opened up the shelter. So I'm gonna be showing that as well.
Okay, so everybody put that in your bookmarks tomorrow night for Summer. Sparky, what do you have coming up on your platform?
I published my book today. I published my
Hell
book
yeah,
today.
she's gonna help me get my book published. Damn it.
Yeah, I am, sister. It's on Amazon. It's under Darling Gossett. My HLP or something over there is it's Darling Gossett dash BTM Sparky. The name of the book is The Adventures of Sparky Madness Continues, and it's Adventures in Healing.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Love y'all.
Sissy, can you drop the mods drop our links for people that may not
Yes.
have either one of our pages?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like come around and Mater 97, you need to stop trying to talk smack to me. That's not nice.
All right.
I love you guys.
I love you too. Thank you,
Peace
Summer.
out.
Thank you,
Deuces.
darling.
Love
Sparky,
y'all.
we'll see you guys soon.
Of
Thank you,
course
everybody
we
in the
will.
chat. Again,
Bye,
tomorrow
y'all.
night.
We love y'all.
Freeway.
Yeah.
Freeway. Tomorrow night, 9:30, Summer Dickerson. It's Hot Mess, Summer Dickerson. Come on, catch her channel at 9:30 tomorrow night. She's going to tell you her story. If you haven't heard her story, you will want to hear it. She's going to have some other things on, as she said, including a documentary. BTM Sparky is on 2 or 3 times a day. She has premieres for her people. She has lives for interaction. So follow those 2 channels. Thank you, Taurus.
Queen.
Thank you, Taurus. Thank you, Hellraiser. Echo Romeo. Oomph. Mater. Cunning Stunt. Sissy. Sissy just dropped BTM Sparky's link in
Rock
the chat.
on. I love y'all. Bye.
We'll see you, Sparky. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, this has been Late Night in America on the American Doofus channel. I love y'all, sincerely. Thank you to the ladies tonight. Thank you to my friend True, who was on last week talking about alternatives as far as spirituality. I got another friend named Apollo that some of you know, some of you've watched the show for a long, long time. Remember my man Apollo. Apollo's mom has had some health problems over an extended period here, and I just love the man. He is an awesome dude, and send some positive vibrations, some prayers and thoughts to Apollo, and I love y'all. I thank you all for being here, for watching, for commenting, for participating, and If you want to email me, if you'd like to be on, americandufus@gmail.com is the email. You want to help support the show, a couple of ways you can do so. Cashapp is $americandufus, AMERICANDUFUS. You can also buy one of the books, America, Land of the Greed, Home of the Grave. It is on Amazon, and it is also available through me, an autographed copy if you'd so desire. Send me an email and we'll thank you, and we'll tell you how we can do that. Thank you, Lonnie. Thank you again, Summer. Thank you again, Sparky, Lori Arnold, Patricia, Mater, everybody that's been on here tonight. Cunning Stunt, GA from CA, Apollo. I love you, man. You know that. We'll talk soon. I love y'all. We'll see you Tuesday. I'll be on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. in the Pacific. We'll do it all again, late night in America on the American Doofus Show. I love y'all. Peace.